This episode of Jigs and Bigs is brought to you by Three Bells Coffee. A warm cup of Three Bells comforts you like your favorite hoodie on a brisk morning up to shears. Be sure to start every day with a cup of three fucking bells, baby.
Oh, yeah, Daddy.
Oh, man, I got to tell you guys, we have one hell of a show for you guys this week. Actually, we have a whole week's worth of amazing content to come for you guys. It's Tuesday morning. It's Jigs and Bigs, the OG, the flagship show. Thank you guys for coming out and hanging out with us. We love it. It's not that funny. But anyway, let's talk, guys. I had an amazing week right here. We're going to talk about it. I've been smashing kayaking goals, and it feels great. Sean the Fisherman was up on the mighty Lake Champlain. He was up north here. Did he smash it? Was there any smashing going on at all up at Champlain? We'll find out. Or maybe we won't. I mean, maybe that's their own business, and we don't need to get into it. Anyway, hot topic for this week is dedicated to all those sandbaggers out there. You know who you are, you little sons of bitches. And just the tip today, I'm going to take some of my own personal experience, and we're going to talk a little bit about fighting that urge to just go immediately to junk fishing. What can you do to kind of stay dialed in and use logic versus... I guess so. We'll talk about that stuff. And in FTG this week, there's some Champlain instant karma to go over. We've got all kinds of good stuff to talk about there. We've got Jordan Capponi back on the show. It's been a hot minute since we've had him on there. What's going on with him? Hey, is there talk about babies? I don't know. We'll have much more coming up for you guys. Grab something hot and delicious to enjoy. Maybe a hot cup of Three Bells. Some of that top water blow up for you guys. We'll see in a bit. Don't go too far. We got much more good stuff coming up right after this. Oh, yeah, Daddy. What'd you think of that, Sean?
I loved it. I love that coffee. Love the intro.
When you were out taking, refilling your cup and taking kind of doing an exchange in a way. When you were out there, I was going through some sound clips that I had just downloaded that I want to use for trivia and all kinds of different stuff. And I stumbled on that when I was just like, you know what? I think I'm going to open with that. And then when you started talking about doing the coffee commercial in the beginning, I'm like, oh, now I'm definitely going to open the show with that.
Excellent.
Amazing.
Well played, sir.
Oh, dude, how are you? How's things? How was Vermont?
Dude, I'm loving Champlain more and more.
Yeah.
Every time I go up there, we had a good time up there. We camped. We had a surprise guest for this trip. A late ad. Yeah. So do you want me to just dive right in?
Why don't you? Yeah, go ahead. You dive right in there because let's be honest. Pretty much, I said multiple times this weekend to people that I had engagement with. I was like, yeah, everybody I know basically is up at Champlain right now, like just doing their thing. Like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it was a big tournament up there,
Yep.
and on top of that, Champlain's so big. There were like I don't know, a handful of big boat bass tournaments going on there too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there were, I guess, 2 or 3 launched from the New York side. One launched we were on the Vermont side. One launched from the same ramp we use, and I think another one launched south of us. So that lake was full of boats, which was fine. There's plenty of room, more than enough room for everybody. Nobody was crowded.
That's awesome.
There was a slight bit of crowding. We'll get to that in segment 2. I'll save that for later.
Sure.
The week went like this. We had to leave on Thursday after Nelson got out of work. We're machines now. So the original plan was myself, Nelson, and Russ Hatch were going to head out. And then we had a late add to our group, which was really nice. Jerry Multi-House.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Jerry, we did go up with you guys.
Yeah, he ended up going up the next morning. So we saw him Friday morning.
Nice.
Friday afternoon, actually, is when we saw him. But Russ and Nelson and I headed up. We found a nice little RV trailer campsite.
Cool.
Dropped the trailer there. It was 15 minutes from where we fished. But from where we launched, it was really perfect. They were nice and easy going. Nelson actually, who does this quite a bit and has for years with trailers, said that this might have been the best spot he'd been to because management there was so good and understanding and loose about any issues. They just said, you guys paid for it. As long as you're not disturbing anybody else, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Particularly with parking, that was going to be an issue, and they were fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm not going to say the name. Well, I will. All right, it was Maple Groves Campground up in Fairfax, Vermont.
Okay, cool.
There's a little shout out to them. If you've got a trailer or something and you want to go up to Champlain, they are phenomenal. So make a reservation with them. And that was completely unsolicited, but they were so good to us this weekend.
You want to take good care of them. Giving
them some props.
Yeah.
So we got up there. We got set up, crashed Thursday night.
Yep.
The next morning, we kind of slept in and got out there for some pre-fishing. I think around 9:00 in the morning.
Sweet. Nice.
We ended up doing okay, I guess. I mean, there were some fish caught. It was bad with the wind on Friday. Friday was real bad. It was I mean, it was 15 to 20 miles, just constant. So that we got to the lake and there were already just whitecaps, just complete whitecaps. So we searched around at a couple of the different ramps and settled on one that was kind of our second choice. Our original ramp was not open, which sucked. Our choice number one, but that area that we planned on fishing from ramp number one was actually a little bit of a pedal, or in Jerry's case, a little bit of a power.
Yep.
a little bit of a motor.
A little bit of a power.
Yep. We got over there and we did manage to fish it. And actually, Jerry did all right there. So
nice,
it was pretty good. So on Friday, I got about halfway to that spot from where we launched from. And while my pre-fishing was not great for bass species, whether largemouth or smallmouth, I had a lot of fun. One of my favorite things to do on lakes like Champlain is fish for pike, and big ones at that.
Oh yeah.
And I was able to land 3 pike on Friday that were over 30 inches, which was awesome. So that was, 30-inch pike, you're talking getting up close to 10 pounds now.
Oh yeah.
And I had a blast, especially one of them that decided to smoke a Ned rig with 8-pound test, and I luckily hooked him perfectly in the corner of the mouth, didn't even touch the line.
That's awesome, dude.
So that fight was insane. My Ned rod, it was touch and go there.
I'll bet you it was. I'll bet you there was some colorful language. I'll bet you, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good. That was the fun of Friday, and then we actually went and grabbed a quick bite to eat. Jerry had gotten there at this point. He met us at the ramp. He had his boat with him, and we went right to another spot and checked that out. And Jerry immediately did all right, so that was good. Laying into some smallmouth.
Yep.
And we said, okay, well, you know what? We have a game plan. I honestly had said, once again, with my bad pre-fishing, it gives me anxiety, but it tends to signal that, the next day is not going to be so bad.
Yeah. And
that's what happened. We got out the next day. Russ, Jerry, and myself stayed relatively close. Probably 100 to 200 yards away from each other. There was a lot of people that launched with us, but most of the people seemed to go way south. We kind of stuck near the ramp, and Nelson went to the other side of the lake, or the other side of the other side of the lake where we were at, and we not the New York side, but the other side of the area we were at.
Yeah.
So we didn't see him all day. Jerry, Russ, and myself, I had the sandwiches. Nelson doesn't eat on the water. I had the sandwiches in mine. So at lunchtime, I stopped over to Russ, stopped over to Jerry, had some sandwiches, knocked back a soda, and went back to doing what we were doing. But the day started out actually pretty good. Nelson and I got on the board early. So I took a quick snapshot. It wasn't very long in. It was maybe an hour and a half in. And Nelson and I were both in the top 10 at that point. And Jerry kind of caught up. He went on a big kick for fish, and the wind had died down, which was nice. It was at least 5 to 10 miles an hour slower. There weren't any whitecaps. And then somewhere around mid-morning, there was a nice bite. We all got on good fish. Russ, congratulations to him. Get the applause ready, Bobby.
Oh, I'm ready.
Russ, personal best smallmouth, cracked 19 inches.
It's big news, man. That's a great fish, and dude, Russ, that's awesome. That's fucking great.
In a tournament. Yeah, in a tournament.
Yeah, in a tournament too. That's great.
So he had a huge boost from that. That was good. And he ended up by the end of the day filling a limit, which was fantastic. I think Nelson, Jerry, and I were starting to cull somewhere around noon. But there was this weird, after we all kind of chit-chatted about what happened, we found that there was this late morning to early afternoon dead spot where something happened, and we figured out what it was. The roaming fish that were biting, fucking chatterbaits and crankbaits and everything we were throwing around kind of stopped, got their shit together, and then they all moved in on beds.
Yeah.
So that was a late spawn going on as far as time of year, month-wise, calendar-wise.
Yep.
But with the wacky weather we've had all spring, the water was just at 60 and it was time to spawn. All those fish moved in.
That was going to be my next question was, what was the water like for temp up there?
I saw when we left, it was like 63, 64.
Wow.
But it was 59 to 60 to 63 pretty much both days.
Yeah.
On the surface. And the fish moved in. They got on beds. We were able to pick off some fish shallow.
Yep.
So bottom line, we all caught fish. We all caught pike. Each one of us got a really big fish. I think Nelson got a 19 and a half, if I'm right. I believe. I'd have to look on that.
Yep.
Jerry, that was a smallmouth. Jerry got a 20 and a half smallmouth, and I got a 20 and a quarter smallmouth. So
nice, dude.
We all caught big fish. We all caught trophies. That was fun. Jerry and I don't know if Nelson did. I'd have to ask him. Jerry and I got on big pike. So Jerry caught one that was 32. The biggest one I caught was 33 and a half. I got a couple that were 32, one at 31. And then I caught this one that was 25, and I actually did not throw it in on any tournaments because, dude, it had a tumor on it that was like, it was the size of like if you cut a tennis ball in half, but it was all like brain looking. And I'm like,
really?
Right, I'm putting this fish back. I'm not even going to. It would have been photographed on its on its left side, and the tumor was underneath it.
Oh, gotcha.
So like, I'm just like, I know that, for Jigs and Bigs.
Did the fish look at you and go like, it's not a tumor?
Dude, I got that fish back in the water. And Russ saw it because he was near me when I caught it. And I said, look at this fish. And he's like, what the hell's wrong with it?
Ew.
Yeah, it was pretty gross. So we got that fish out of there. So when all was said and done, let me paint the picture of how we finished and what was going on in this lake at the same time. Now, obviously, Champlain's huge. We said it before when we went out there last year. It's the sixth Great Lake. It's enormous.
It's giant, yeah.
And there were all these tournaments going on. There were 2 KFL matchups. There was the 2-day KBF. Again, we only fished Saturday. We've decided to make these a 1-day ordeal when we fish them.
Gotcha.
There was 4 KFL teams out there. So that's some of the best kayak anglers in the region and the nation. So that was the Sticks, the Granite State Sticks, and the Mass Maulers were one matchup.
No, the Bay State Attack.
Bay State Attack. I'm sorry. That's right. The Maulers had the week off.
Yep.
Bay State Attack. I knew it was a Massachusetts team at least. So the Bay State Attack and the Granite State Sticks, and then the New York Empire and
Delaware. The Doom.
It was Delaware. Yeah. Yep. So we'll get into those results on the recap show on Thursday. I'm not going to say much more. I'm just painting the picture here.
Yeah. Exactly.
On top of that, this was a KBF event. So there were anglers from all over the country coming up. Drew Gregory, Jody Queen.
Yep.
Just the insane amount of maniac anglers, Massachusetts kayak bassin anglers, a bunch of the guys from Connecticut. Oh, that's right. There was Connecticut there. There were folks from the Pennsylvania there. This was a stacked tournament, right?
Oh yeah.
So when it was all said and done, Russ, out of 88 people, finished 38th.
That's amazing, dude.
Yep.
That's so awesome. Nice job, Russ.
Yeah, congrats to Russ. That's the highest he's ever placed in one of those. And he caught fish and turned them in and got a limit, so that's huge. That's awesome. Next, going up our little group in the echelon of things, I finished 20th. So I've got that sweet spot between 19 and 20. I just hang out at when I am able to turn fish in. So I finished 20th. Nelson finished 17th.
Yep.
And then here's where the big applause comes
is,
in.
baby.
Jerry fucking multi-house with the top 10 finished. Number 10.
Good job, Jerry. He posted a pic on his Instagram, and I left a comment on there. I was like, the big check looks good on you.
Yep. So what happened there is KBF always prints up checks for the top 10. All right. Some of them have monetary amounts attached to them. Some of them don't. Jerry's did not. The top 10% paid out. So there's 88 people. So eight spots paid out. And Jerry was number 10, so I'm jealous. He got a nice check.
Dude, that's awesome.
I'd love to have that on my wall.
For sure,
that's
dude.
Awesome. But yeah.
Hey,
Jerry,
Sean, the thing is, the day will come.
The
day will come.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You keep at it long enough, the day will come.
Yeah, I'm not, again, it's a cool thing to have. I'm not overly concerned about it. There's all sorts of other hardware that has money attached to it. So I'm not, I got my goals. We'll see what happens. I'm not worried about it. So that being said, just because we talk about MAKB as we're so ingrained in it,
sure.
With me being a director there, I don't know what happened, but just to illustrate, I guess how this lake is so big and so diverse and things are happening on one side and not another. The two highest MAKB Eastern Division folks to finish were Derek Brundle finished 18th right after Nelson, in between myself and Nelson, and Matt Conant finished somewhere in between myself and Russ. So that's what kind of a bite it was. And all four of our group, that we fished together with finished, 38, 20, 18 or 17 and 10. That's pretty phenomenal for guys that have only really been bass tournament fishing like this for at most 3 years.
Yeah.
And we went out and did a really good job. So it was absolutely awesome. We had a blast, and that was the tournament. We have some other stuff to talk about with that later, but I'll get into that in other segments. There's a couple things I do want to note. The convenience stores.
I was going to ask you about this.
Yeah. Convenience stores.
Talk to me.
We ran into 2 convenience stores that were phenomenal.
Okay.
Phenomenal.
Okay.
No other word for it. Simply phenomenal. Okay.
What was it that made them? So was it location? Were these like chain convenience stores, or were they like independents?
Well, one of them was a chain.
Okay.
One of them was a Valero, and the Valero at the north end of where we were fishing. You walk in there and it's everything you think: booze, some booze, some sodas, some chips, standard fare.
Yep. And
then you look around and you realize half of their store is devoted to fishing stuff, and it's not shit stuff.
That's the bet. I love that.
Their store had some stuff in there that was better and higher quality than some of the tackle stores I've seen recently in different areas.
Really?
It was phenomenal. Yeah, they had everything. Awesome. They had a huge selection of Berkeley products. They had a huge selection of Yamamoto. They had a whole pike section. Giant aisle filled with Rapalas. I mean, this was top notch. I'm highly, highly impressed with this Valero out there in I don't know, St. Albans Bay or whatever the fuck. I don't even know what town it was, but they're phenomenal.
I feel like I know the one you're talking about. I feel like we gassed up Ian's boat there.
No, you couldn't have. This one was across the street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was not on the water. This was away.
But this wasn't on the water either. The one I'm thinking of. It was outside of like the little downtown area. Yeah,
kind of like that. Yeah, well, I mean, it was a little ways. You probably could have walked there. I don't know if there was a boat gassing station there. Maybe there were docks. I don't know, but yeah, this store was.
What no. We trailered. We drove over there from the cabin, and I think I'll bet you it's the same place.
Well, when you guys went on the boat, did you launch at St. Albans Bay, or did you?
We launched directly across from the cabin.
Okay,
so we had to go up and around, and we went into town to gas up. I'll bet you.
Maybe you did. Maybe that is the same one.
Yeah, I didn't go in there. I wish I would have.
Yeah, that place was fucking phenomenal. So good job. But yeah, Minnesota level gas station, because Minnesota, nobody gives a fuck more about fishing than Minnesota. Like I've been around the country. I can attest to that. And that was one. And then the second, on the way home, there was I don't know what the name brand of the store was, but it had a Citgo pump. There was a gas station on the way home.
Yeah.
We stopped for food at, and you walked in there and it was tightly packed, but it was a fucking full supermarket in a convenience store. It was amazing.
Oh, wow.
They had everything. And I'm not talking about like a Walmart where it's just fucking, brand name garbage. They had a whole meat section. They had a whole deli. They had everything. It was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, dude, the gas station is like, it's a spot. Convenience stores, Some of them are bringing it up a level. You know, it's not your regular quickie mart. You go in there and you're, choke down various meats in stick formation or something like that. No, they bring the heat. You know, I want a 2-inch ribeye.
This place had plenty, a variety of steaks. They had briskets. They had everything. It was a huge meat cooler. And then on top of that, they had the, really, I hate to describe it this way, but like Trader Joe's level bougie fucking chocolate and shit.
Okay. Sign a bitch up.
This was no joke. So we ate good.
I'm sure.
On the way home.
Nice.
And that's, I think that's, aside from that, speaking of eating, might as well continue on the eating path here. So what we did for the menu for this one was I prepped a lot of the food at home.
Yep.
So we had sandwiches and egg sandwiches to eat, for breakfast and lunch. But for dinner, well, we introduced Jerry to some Bass pizzas. That was good.
I assume this was just going to happen. Yeah, of course.
Yep. And then the second thing was the next night. So we learned this in Maine.
Okay.
We went to, of all the places, we went to Walmart in Maine because it was close by. And we found this poultry and meat seasoning. And I grabbed a thing of it, and it's a brand name. I have it downstairs. I can't remember the name on me right now, but we grabbed it. We tried it. And all I did was put drumsticks in a frying pan, right?
Yep.
Throw this seasoning on and just let them cook, slow cook them in the frying pans. My frying pans actually allow, I have one of those little travel grills for like tailgating.
Oh yeah.
And I can actually close the lid on the two frying pans, a couple of of cast iron frying pans.
Yep.
And I did that. And you just turn them over every now and again to the point where the meat is falling off the bone, the chicken's falling off, and you just keep hammering it with that seasoning. It was so fucking good.
Shit,
we did that with
awesome.
Potatoes, some grilled corn on the cob, excuse me. And
grilled corn on the cots. It's funny you bring up corn because our one of our regular listeners and jigheads, Rodney Swanson, was in the Hookset Hoodlums Pro Staff chat the other day giving out recipes for cooking sweet corn, and it was really good.
Oh, we just kept it simple. Just
apparently the tip is a cup of milk to the water before you boil it.
Oh, we didn't even. Yeah, we just threw it on the grill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think grilled or roasted corn is amazing. Raw is the best. Someone in that chat said that eating corn the long way was the way. I don't know who brought that up, but
yeah. Each their own in that group.
Corn is like a lifestyle in the summer. You know what I mean?
It is.
Yeah.
2022, baby.
Exactly.
I did kind of fuck up. I was planning on getting cojita cheese so we could have street corn.
Oh, Mexican street corn, dude, so good.
I failed on that, so my bad. That's my bad. But no, it was a great trip. We all had a blast. Huge confidence builder for Russ.
Yeah,
Jerry. It was only a matter of time before Jerry displayed his skills on this level. And we all had a blast. It was fucking phenomenal. So this is one that's going to go down in the books. Nothing went wrong except for one thing. On the way up, it's goddamn food allergies I have. I fucking ate something that I thought was labeled one thing and it was not, because its brother and sister products were labeled the right way for me. And
gotcha.
I was sick pretty much all weekend. So that fucking sucked. But aside from that, phenomenal weekend.
Well, that's good. I mean, aside from, chumming the water and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, these things happen.
Yep.
But yeah, that was my weekend, or my week. Because, like I said, it was just pre-fishing and that for me. What'd you do this week?
So I miscalculated my number of kayak sends. Last week there were 4. I got out in the boat on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Sunday. Monday, because I've got Monday evenings available now. I left one of my trivia venues that just it wasn't working. I wasn't a good fit for me. So I decided to open up my Mondays. I went out and I did a little bank send with my buddy Paul. And myself and the Polish one, we hit the water, and I got a couple of crappie. It was a tough bite Monday night. Couple of crappie, all of them too small to enter in the Jigs and Bigs tournament, which kind of sucked. And what was it? Tuesday I had gone out, caught some fish. Fishing. This was my first send in the Yak. All the same body of water. And like I've mentioned on the show before, I've been focusing on 2 bodies of water that are different from one another, but they have something in common, is that they're both very close to my residence. So these are what I'm considering like my home lakes or my home ponds, where I can go and drop the kayak and fish different styles at these places because, one is is deeper than the other and clearer than the other. The other one is, much more shallow and dirty. Great multi-species fisheries, lots of pressure, which I kind of want because I want that challenge. Like I want that, like these are waters that get fished all the time. So that's what I'm looking for. So I went out on Tuesday, throwing around finesse tactics. I've been really, really into this 3-inch paddle tail. Those ones that I picked up from Cabela's, man. I really like them. And I've been throwing them on either 16th ounce or 8th ounce EWG Ned heads. And, I was having this situation where I would get bites, but I just wasn't getting a good hook set, So I had actually caught on Thursday the biggest fish I've caught this year, which was a 17 and a quarter. I think it was a 17 and a quarter or 17 and a half. And I entered it into the Jigs and Bigs tournament, which was nice. Yeah, it was nice. Closed mouth, good measurement. Did not have to get freaky deaky with my bass. The eye covering was enough to do it. But I will tell you, Sean, you're right about one thing. That big net is fucking awesome.
Yep.
It is.
I had all those 30-inch pike got into that net.
Yeah, it is. It is awesome, man. I am a fan. Definitely having it, as much deck space on my kayak. Deck space. Having that much real estate, helps for sure. But, it was just, God, it was so nice. I'm like, yeah, we're good to go. So that was Thursday night. That was a good confidence boost. And this gets into that, hold just the tip. I was actually focusing my efforts because on Tuesday and early on Thursday, I was kind of beating the bank opposite of the bank where I ended up catching this fish. And I was getting just all little fish, 10 to 12 inch nibblers. And, I was not getting quality bites whatsoever. So I had made a move and it kind of paid off. Thursday, I got off the water, came home. Last week, we did trivia. It was amazing. Friday, I got a bunch of stuff done around the house. I wanted to get the grass cut, wanted to, handle a bunch of different things. And I got a late start on Friday, dropped the boat in and went and did some more fishing. And this day was a little bit different because there was a little bit more pressure on this pond than normal because they started the kayak and canoe rentals and the paddle boat rentals for the weekend. But what was interesting was this. I saw a guy on the water drop a canoe into the launch, and I was kind of fishing nearby, and he goes by. And what's kind of funny is, I've never, I guess maybe I'm not as up to the level of know-how for the whole canoe movement or canoe lifestyle. But the seats, it was like a stadium seat, very similar exactly almost to what I have in my Ascend, like that style seat. And I'm like, oh, no shit, that's cool. But this guy was standing up in his kayak with a giant paddle, like it was a gondola, and he was in Venice. I was expecting him to paddle by me singing in Italian or something, and he didn't. It was kind of a letdown. So I'm fishing this one little cove, and I'm having a great time with it. And he comes back over, and he's like, how they doing? I was like, not getting too many bites, but still having a good time. He goes, if you're bored, he goes, why don't you take your kayak and take a little ride down on this end and watch two idiots putting a giant styrofoam eagle on a wood pallet with floats in the pond for this cultural arts festival that was coming up in the town where this place is. And I was just like, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, it's a riot. So I did. He did not disappoint. It was freaking awesome. I took off because these guys were like, hey, can you help? Because they saw my big ass wide kayak and were like, oh, you can stand here and hold it. No, I'm not getting responsible for you guys drowning or anything. Nope, sorry. And I told him, I was like, nope, guys, I'm fishing. Sorry. I got a good laugh and I got the hell out of there. It was just bad.
What the hell?
Yeah, what the hell? I mean, it was almost FTG level, but you can't make this shit up, and it's still there. So if you drive by, you will see this giant. What it is? It wasn't even an eagle. It's actually a bear with burning wings coming out behind it. It's the weirdest fucking thing, man.
Burning wing bear, huh?
Burning winged bear. I'm telling you, it's ridiculous.
Should I use a crude drawing of a burning winged bear for our artwork?
Well, I got a really good picture from our guest Jordan this week, and I'd hate to. But I'll tell you what, if you want to draw your representation, we can definitely post it. Maybe you can record like a time lapse drawing of it, and we'll make it a reel so everybody can enjoy it with some kind of an ironic song in the background. You know,
I got a burning wing bear.
So
in my fucking lake.
That brings us to Friday. Friday was great. I left that trip, headed back to the house, got my stuff together, and headed out to work on Friday night at Casa de Lisa. Now, this is where I had a very pleasant surprise. We had an amazing game Friday night at Casa de Lisa. That's not weird. We have a lot of fun there routinely. I go walking in, and who do I see but Tim O'Keefe and the whole
Tim
posse? Yeah. And
Tim couldn't make it up.
I was surprised. I was like, Tim, dude, I thought you were up at Champlain. And he's like, no, he had work stuff that kind of had popped up over the weekend. And I was like, well, shit, if you're around, let's fish. I was planning on a big outing on Sunday because I had spoken with the wife, and I gotta give her a shout out. Wife, I have many times this so far this season, I've said, hey, I'm planning on some outings this week. I don't know if she's just kind of accepted it, but like when I've got a few hours in between, I'm out at the water. Like, and she's, but I've been better about giving her like a heads up of when I'm going out and when I'll be back and actually being on time. But I asked her, I said, so this weekend I'm thinking about doing a whole day. What works better for you, a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning? She's like, well, I got a thing going on Sunday. She goes, why don't you go out on Sunday and we'll go out on Saturday night? I said, great, that's an awesome idea. This would prove to be a mistake for me, not for anybody else involved, but just for me. So I go and I make some plans, and I asked him, I was like, yeah, if you want to fish on Sunday. He had to work on Sunday, couldn't do it. I was like, no sweat. So we have plans that are kind of brewing in the background to get out, and he had made a suggestion on a couple of bodies of water that I have never fished, and I'm definitely down for it. So we're going to go and put something together. But had a good time at trivia. It was really, really good. Tim O'Keefe had to do Drinko. And the beverage, I didn't realize that Tim wasn't a liquor drinker. And I apologize.
I heard about what he drank.
Yeah,
it's vile.
it was rough. I mean, the first two ingredients were like not too bad. The first spin, though, I think was pint glass plus one spin. So it was a big cup. And then he had the first ingredient was juice. The second one was liquor. And then the third ingredient was an egg. And it can be any style. Like, there are places where I've done trivia and they'll use a crumbled boiled egg, or they'll, rip out a sunny side real quick and like let it rip. No, they went with a raw egg here. It was and it was interesting. It was just kind of like, it was like if Rocky had a screwdriver first thing in the morning. Like if Rocky was a functioning alcoholic, that movie would have been different. You know what I mean? Adrian, I did. It would have been it would have been something. So that was that. So then that brings us to Saturday. I get up Saturday, running some errands for the fam. My daughter's got graduation parties to go to and all this other stuff. She's also been working a lot. So, my wife and I run some errands together. We did some groceries and stuff, came back, had a nice chill day. And then we met up with some friends. Shout out to the Lumbers, John and Patty. And we go out for dinner. We headed out to Northampton. We went to Highbrow. If you like brick oven pizza and, especially like kind of next level brick oven pizza and stuff like that and craft cocktails, this is a good spot for you. We ate, we had calamari appetizer. It was amazing. So good. We leave there, and this is where your boy fucked up. One of the things. This is just the tip of the iceberg where he fucked up. We got an amazing, all that day, actually, all of the places where we had to go throughout the day, prime parking spots. Like, right next to where we were going. And like a moron, because I don't really hang out in Northampton too often. And most times that I'm there, I'm working and I'm at Platform Sports Bar or the Deck, and they have their own parking lot. So I never pay to park most of the time that I'm in Northampton. I pull up and there's a spot right in front of Highbrow. I grab that spot and I'm like, it's no parking after 6. I was like, but it's the weekend. We don't have to worry about it. No, wrong, fat guy. It's Sundays and holidays. Saturdays are still free games. So with 13 minutes left on the clock, I got a parking ticket. Because we got there at just after 5:30, and we went in, and it's 5:47. I got a ticket. So I'm like, God, son of a bitch. So I'll fast forward a little bit here. We have dinner. We go over to a spot where my wife is really, really excited about going, where they've got some, vintage spirits, and, they make really, really good, well-made craft cocktails. We head over to this little bar. It's in this little community that's been having this like arts festival all weekend, and that ended at 5, and it was like the whole town hit the reset button. Like they closed down everything, set stuff up for the evening, and then opened back up, and it was like everything was brand new. So it was great. So we go in, we have a couple rounds over there. I had some type of, it's a drink that's called a smash. I forget exactly what it is. I'll have to look it up on the menu, but it was delicious. It was a bourbon drink with some grapefruit and some mint. It was awesome. Very refreshing. Would definitely be dangerous on at a patio party on a real hot day or something, because they just go down so unbelievably smooth. So then I decided to kind of watch myself. Based on a friend's suggestion, I tried Redbreast 12, which is a scotch, and that was absolutely delightful. We then, and this is where we're building to where your boy fucked up. I saw an old friend of mine. Shout out to Jay Barnes. And he and his band were playing classic rock and blues covers at the bar across the street. And as it would just so happen to work out, we were looking for one more place to stop. And this is where your boy fucked up. We went in and we went for another 2 to 3 rounds over there. And everything was great. But we got home sometime around 12:30, I think. And I had to be up at 3:30 in the morning. Yeah, and that's where I made that fatal mistake. Actually, no, I take that back. I didn't have to be up at 3:30 in the morning. I had to be up by 4:30, and I had alarms leading up to that point, so that way I would for sure be there, because I had plans to go fishing with Gravy Fishing. That was the Sunday send. Yep. And we had a blast. I got there in plenty of time, no problem. But for whatever reason, I woke up way before my alarm at 3:30. And yeah, I was a little bit hurting. Started pounding some water, nice and easy, and he went out, hit the water. And I was trying a different sort of tactic. Remember I said I've been throwing that 3-inch paddle tail? Yep. I decided instead I was going to mix things up. And I was kind of kicking myself because I'm like, I just don't have any round jig heads that are any lighter than 3/8 ounce. I bought a bunch of these years ago to specifically for fishing, for smallmouth around the Connecticut River and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, this will be really handy. And I never got around to using them or anything. They're really decent ones. So I was like, but they're all 3/8. And I was like, I feel like this is going to be a little too heavy, but I want to use this open hook and see how I can do. So I upsized the paddle tail with it with a 4-inch swim bait, and man, I was lighting them up on this bait. It was great. It was fantastic. Nice. Infinitely better hook sets. It was getting hit with, and I was definitely concerned about it just being too heavy, especially fishing around all that grass. One of the things that I did was I swapped out the reel on the combo I was using to a faster reel from a 5 to a 7. I think that helped me kind of keep things right above the grass in some spots where I wanted to do that. So that was a good thing. But man, it was awesome. We had one hell of a day. Gravy got on some fish. I got on some fish, and it got to be about sometime around noon, 12:30, and I said, dude, let's go grab some lunch and call it, man. It's been a good day. At this point, the banks were starting to get really crowded with people fishing. And we had, wreck paddlers all over the place, pedal boats and all kinds of stuff all over. So we're like, let's call it a day. So we went to Riff's joint, and we threw down some freaking burgers, man. Holy crap. It was such a good day with Gravy. So much fun. So yeah, it was really good, man. We had a good time. It was an amazing week overall.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Cannot, not disappointed whatsoever. It was really, really fantastic. And then plans for this week, I'm planning to send, you and I were talking about tonight, and then I'll be doing some additional stuff. I'm basically working to get this average higher than 2 sends a week. So that this way, if I need to, and I've got to slow down at any point for work or something, that's what it is. I'm just taking advantage of it while I don't have these events on the itinerary that are like super like detail specific, like weddings and stuff, where like next week I'm doing a graduation party. A lot of that's very, very simple, much simpler than doing a wedding as far as planning and stuff like that. There's none of that on the table. So that'll be kind of nice.
Good.
Yeah. So we're making it happen. I got one wedding in June. One wedding in July, early July, and then one in August. And I just booked like another 2 for September, October. So should be good.
Yeah, and our kids are pretty much all out of school. You got 1 week left with one of them.
I got
right?
1 week left with one of them, and my wife does work for a local school system. She's a school nurse, and she also has about a week, and then she's going to take some time off. But she's going out and hitting it hard. She's going and doing she picked up a job actually teaching at a local community college.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's like just some session stuff, but she is looking to get her car paid off as soon as possible so that we can give it to my oldest daughter to use, which is pretty freaking sweet, man. My oldest kid's going to be driving around a Buick Enclave, like
nice,
pretty heated seats and like all kinds. It's pretty nice little ride for a freaking 18-year-old she's psyched about that. My wife is looking at new vehicles now, and I told her, I was like, you should make your decision sooner rather than later because you might be waiting a little while. It's like it's hard to get a vehicle now, so don't think you're gonna have like all your money set up and you're ready to go and boom, you're gonna have it. I'm like, you might want to start looking ASAP. So she's got her process that she's putting together, but yeah, she's got some work this year. She's doing summer school this year. I don't know if Delaney's gonna do fencing this summer, but yeah, you're right. Summer is like here, and it's full send.
Yep, we'll be getting out quite a bit more.
Yeah,
my schedule's cleared up quite a bit, so you and I'll be on the water. Your wingman is here for you, sir. We'll get you out on the water.
I freaking love it. I can definitely say this. I love getting in that kayak like as often as I can. I just absolutely freaking love it. And you want to talk about a difference in my mentality early on. Like I dropped the boat in and I would just be like, I just want to fish. I just want to fish. Like me at the beginning of the season or last year, if dude in the kayak said, hey, you want to see something crazy, go paddle all the way down to the other end of the freaking pond and check out these idiots. I never would have done that before. Never. Yeah. I would have been like, fuck it, I'm fishing. No, I'm not going there. I'm not going to put myself all the way down there. And then I'm like, no. Like, what a difference. And I know Lauren said, get in the kayak twice a week and see what the difference is at the end of the season. I feel like I'm already seeing it. It's not necessarily the physical difference that I'm like looking for necessarily, though there is some of that. There is the difference in like just my mental. And I think that's where it starts.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's good.
Excellent. Very good, dude. Keep it up. And like I said, I got your back. We'll get out there and we'll do some shit.
We are. It's going to be good. We have a hot topic that you're all fired up about this week.
Fuck.
You are. I mean, people, we should go ahead and say this. Last week, people thought we were fired up. I mean, you're equally as fired up about this and make some really, really good points this week. I got to say this before we get into this hot topic, but regarding hot topics, last week's hot topic, I have never produced a podcast episode that got so much engagement from the listeners reaching back out to us.
Yeah, and
God,
how much do we want to follow up on that?
The only thing I want to throw out there myself is that the issues that we talked about there reach out much farther than we even thought that they did, and much farther than what we even talked about. Because, of course, we're only providing the information of things that we're aware of. As people were reaching out, we realized that this is a much larger situation.
Yeah, we proverbial tip of the iceberg. We do, that's all we expose, and then a lot of shit came to light, and it's we're not going to get into it again.
Yeah,
kind of letting this lay. I mean, I don't know what to tell this company. Whatever. Just
whatever happens from this point for them is happening. I think officially. Like, if it wasn't clear from what we said last week, we are wiping our hands clean of the whole situation at this point. And now I'm popping the popcorn, man, and we're gonna watch the fucking ship go down.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Well, on to more things to bitch about.
Yeah, the bitch fest.
Let's talk about the competitive scene, and we'll talk about one of the things that really mars the competitive scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
It's something that until the dawn of real-time tournament management systems, it wasn't an issue. Just wasn't there. Wasn't
it's
an
true.
issue. But now we have these real-time tournament management systems, which means you can put a fish in, you catch your fish, you submit your fish, and it shows it in its real-time scoreboard. That is a best-case scenario, and that is what happens if you actually submit your fish when you catch them.
Yes. Oh, you mean to tell me?
Let's talk about sandbagging, Bobby Roast.
My God. I'm
Okay,
clutching my
so-
pearls. I am clutching my pearls right now.
So, let's define sandbagging first.
Yes.
Sandbagging is holding on to a fish when you had an opportunity to put it in. I'm going to subtract one thing. You know, I've been talking a lot with tournament directors, with directors of leagues and divisions, and you name it, about sandbagging over the past week or two, because it's really been a hot topic. And I talked with them, and I'm willing to give a little leeway, because you know what? A lot of the Southern guys came back with,
What's that?
I'm not submitting a fish if I'm on a school of them and I have a chance to catch more of them. And you know what? I'm going to give that leeway, because if we had a school of smallmouth, I get it. But then there should be some sort of reasonable amount of time where you have to submit that fish, not hold on to it forever. So what sandbagging does is when you have the opportunity to turn in a fish and you don't turn it in, it kills the real-time scoreboard. So what happens is you're doing well. You're a beginning angler and you're 3 hours in and you're like, shit, I'm in fucking 15th place out of 100 people.
Yeah.
This is awesome. And that confidence is there. And then all of a sudden, just one dude just drops 90 inches in.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And now you're in 16th.
Yep.
And then another dude drops 85 in. Now you're in 15th. Next thing you know, you're in 30th, 40th, 50th, because people keep doing this shit when they had the opportunity to do it. Now, for a non-live streamed event, it's bad enough, because now it's just being rude to other competitors. There's some, unwritten rule type thing like baseball stuff, which, by the way, I hate. I don't like unwritten rules in baseball. If it's a rule, it's a rule. Like, just for example, baseball folks, if you can give me a good reason why a baseball player who hits predominantly to the left side or to the right field, and you put a shift on, all right, you've now opened up the entire third base area. Why is it a bad thing if that person bunts? Get on base. Who gives a fuck? If they're going to open it up and say, go ahead and do it. Not hit into a fucking, hit into six guys lined up between fucking second base and first base all the way onto the outfield.
Yeah, whenever somebody says to me that there's something that's an unwritten rule, I usually follow up, because this happens at trivia too, and I'm like, I'm hearing that it's not a rule.
Yeah. It's not a rule.
Yeah, it's not a rule. Put it on the rule book.
Yeah, well, when it comes to sandbagging, the usual excuse that is out there is, I didn't have signal.
Yes.
Okay. That's fine. I actually, believe it or not, I actually understand that so much that I have some of our mountain events open for an extra hour so people can get to a place with signal and drop their fish in.
Yeah.
So on mountain events, I know to take the scoreboard with a grain of salt.
Yep.
But on bigger events, on events like Champlain, there was signal everywhere. There's cell phone towers all over that fucking lake. That's a highly, highly, highly popular vacation spot. There's cell phone towers everywhere. And while I was in no way, shape, or form close to the money, Jerry was.
Jerry definitely was.
And two top competitors sandbagged on Saturday. Whether they had signal or not, I don't know their situation, but it's funny they had signal the next day and no one else seemed to be having problems. They dropped 90 inches in after the tournament had ended because you had extra time.
Yeah. Just
like I do in the mountains, okay? So Jerry went from in the money to out of the money.
That which is a pisser.
That's when it sucks. What I'm getting at is, now I'm not bitching on behalf of Jerry. Jerry's a fucking adult.
Yeah.
And he understands that what happens here, and he was actually a little calmer about it than I was, because I've had these conversations for 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's a pisser is you get these newer folks in the sport, and there is nothing more discouraging than that.
Yep.
Nothing.
Yep.
And there's no other sport out there where at the end of the event, all of a sudden the score changes. Like, hey, remember that game, Bobby, where the Patriots lost to the Cleveland Browns?
Yep.
14-0, and the timer ran out and everyone was coming on the field. And then, oh shit, the Patriots actually scored 21 in the third quarter, but we didn't see that.
Yeah.
And the Patriots won 21-14 over the Browns.
You know what?
But all that scoring got turned in after the game.
You know what's crazy, man, is like I feel like, and again, I feel like some of the response from some people would be but Big Boat Bass Fishing Tournament has a weigh-in at the end. Like, you do what you did, and then that's it. And which is fine. I mean, I guess for like logistic reasons, that makes sense. But now that we have this technology where you can have this live update of what's going on with the scores and the standings, it's an apples and oranges type situation. Like, I don't think you can compare big boat fishing with live wells and weigh-ins. You know what I'm saying? To an online tournament.
I actually can, and I was going to go into that next.
Oh, all right, okay.
So one of the things that directors for kayak tournaments and anybody who's using a real-time scoring system likes is attendance after the event.
Yeah,
and the bass boats events, the big boat events get so much attention because no one knows who won.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me take a step back on that. I'm not super familiar with it, but doesn't MLW do something where there's a real-time scoreboard where they have a certified official in the boat doing the weights?
MLW. Are you talking MLF or are you talking
MLF?
FLW?
What MLF? MLW?
Yeah, MLW.
Yeah, I'm MLW's.
You're making business arrangements between two organizations.
Yeah, whatever. Sometimes you fuck a letter up on an acronym. You never hear the end of it.
So MLF, that's the thing. I only follow it so much, but from what I understand, there's an official on the boat who basically is counting all of this, or at least to some degree, that's how it works. So yeah, you're right. That is a little bit of a different animal, but I mean, also
getting into that, Bobby, the whole thing is with all of those events, they want people at the events.
Yeah.
Whether they're selling tickets or not or doing whatever, they want people at the weigh-ins afterwards.
Of course.
And so do the kayak angler directors, it appears, because they'll rent a hotel. Like Saturday, there was a hotel. There was I can't remember if it was a Hyatt. Well, not important. It was a hotel, and there was a room rented out for the ceremony.
Yep.
So people can get their checks. All right, not even the people who got checks showed up. There was 14 fucking people at this thing. There was 88 anglers.
That is that is frustrating because here's the thing. All of these sports, and it's so fucking weird, with tournaments, because people are entering, they're paying, and you obviously, this would make the sponsors so fucking happy if you had events that actually turned up people and your sponsors could actually physically be there and move their products to people right there. This is an opportunity right here to build things up. Yep. I understand, under the fear of gatherings in the pandemic and everything, I get that, but there's events happening all the fucking time right now.
Yeah, and it was maddening because we showed up and there was 14 people there. I should make mention. 4 of the people that showed up are probably the target audience: me, Nelson, Jerry, and Russ. And we didn't win shit. Yeah, and we were still there. I even now I'm gonna fucking call them out for this. I let the team owners for the KFL know that I would be there. All right. And I would say, hi, hey, we're all working together now with the KFL. I let them know because there was at least, let me think. There was the 4 teams that were there. Plus there were another almost 2 or 3 full teams there fishing this event.
Yeah.
All right. And the only people I saw from KFL were Chris Pendergast in the morning and John DeCenso, who I've only met once. And I talked with John a little bit because he's a friend of Nate's.
Yep.
Okay. I want to get back and focus on the sandbagging and what this is doing. So the real-time scoreboard is now officially fucked. Yep. So if you're in a tournament, you're using a real-time scoreboard, fucking don't even look because people are sandbagging. It just happens. It sucks.
That's the advice side of it.
Even at the Chicopee River event, we had fucking 16 people, and I had to say something to somebody about sandbagging. I'm like, we don't do that here, dude.
Yeah.
And he did it anyways.
Yep.
Why? I get the understanding of how you're really yanking the fucking rug out from somebody when they thought they've done something, but it doesn't help the sport.
Yeah.
Now that's in tournaments that again are not being live streamed. When you talk KFL and you've got people sandbagging, now you're hurting the fucking product.
Yeah.
And I've been talking with Greg Nosar about this, who runs the KFL, and I'm like, you need to, I would suggest making a rule.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? If you're going to sandbag, you fucking lose X amount of fish. So what drives I think him nuts is you can see people on camera sandbagging. So if they have signal to get a fucking live stream out, how do they not have signal?
Yes.
To get the low resolution image on Fishing Chaos out? That's the simplest thing.
So you bring up a good point, the low-res image. Remember on Thursday, I told you I had difficulty sending my image from the water of that 17 and a half or 17 and a quarter. That day, I sent that, and I was watching the gauge, and it got 48%, 53, such and such. And then I closed the app, and I was like, by the time I get to the water, we'll be fine. Wrong. I had to resubmit that fish. It never entered. So what we had talked about it, and Sean said, oh, yeah, well, if you check the box that says the low res, send a low res image, you'll get past that altogether, like a little bit of service. It'll submit the image. So what we had done is we had turned that feature on because it wasn't on in the Jigs and Bigs tournament. We turned that on, and on Sunday, when I went to go submit my fish, then I measured the fish, had my image, everything was ready, and I went to go send it, and I was in the same body of water, not very far. I had the same level of service to the initial spot where I tried to submit on Thursday. When I went to go submit this time, there was now a checkbox to send a low resolution image. Now, I understand why there is when you send that image, it sends immediately. It's just bang, done. It does give you a notification that you may be asked to submit the original image at a later time. And I think that's a great idea. Because, you shouldn't be deleting your pictures off your phone anyway. You should definitely keep 100% of those for content, if nothing else.
Yep.
And
I did talk to Greg about this, and I didn't ask him about how the low res images would be taken accounted for, and if KFL takes in the old or the original image if possible. But look at it this way.
Yep.
If there's 10 fish being submitted or up to 10 fish being submitted in a matchup, and you send in that low res image, and you could conceivably lose up to a quarter inch. Worst case scenario, you lose a quarter inch on every fish because they just can't see where it hits the line.
Exactly.
That's 2.5 inches. Out of all the matchups in 2 weeks that have taken place in KFL, only one was decided by anywhere near that amount. Everything's been much more. I think 5 inches was the biggest. Even then, the result would have stayed the same.
Yeah, exactly.
The bottom line is it hurts tournaments where there's a wide array of experience of anglers, because those younger guys are going to look at this and not be ready for it, and they'll be like, what the fuck, why would you do that? It's just rude. And then the second thing is, for KFL, it hurts their product.
It does.
So I hope Greg cracks down on that more. I say shit. I mean, I'm just going to go as a director. We actually have it, because for the Jigs and Bigs, I thought about this. I don't want to see people dumping fish at the end of the month. It's still sandbagging. I said, you got 24 hours to submit a fish.
Which is reasonable.
Use the low risk.
Yeah.
And that's how I roll with that. And I keep an eye on that. But it's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. It hurts the sport. It hurts every organization you're a part of. It hurts turnouts at events. So I'm not just going to be someone who sits here and bitches and then doesn't offer a suggestion. You know what I suggest? And I know Ken's not going to like this.
No.
I know it. He's going to listen to this. He's going to go,
He's going to be like, fuck you, the fisherman.
I want the scoreboard turned off.
Now
that'll stop the sandbagging.
Is that an option on Fishing Chaos?
So this is kind of funny. Like, a lot of major, I think KBF used to do it. I don't think they do it anymore. I think there was enough outcry, but again, you're outcrying about turning the last hour off, which is what they did. They would turn the last hour off to build suspension and get people to that event afterwards. But now you've got to a point where it's just sandbagging.
Yes.
There's just fucking major sandbagging going on. It just sucks balls. It's stupid. It's pointless. It's selfish, and it does no good.
I consider this, because we do live in an area where the technology is there, and I understand that there are, we see it in various pro staff chats and things like that pop up. You have people who are in tournaments, and they'll share the link to Fishing Chaos so that you can get updates. Oh yeah, see how everybody's doing this tournament over here and such, or check this out here. And you see this, and while that's great, and it's nice as a spectator or a fan or a supporter of anglers that are in these tournaments to kind of see how they're doing, and that's cool. Like, at the same time, if you allow that, there's loopholes where the angler is going to be able to access that information. At the very least, they could have a friend giving updates every 15 minutes and texting, sending a screenshot.
One of the other things,
or or they just go out with another device with a different login and get the information themselves. So by shutting it off completely, you negate the situation. Having, friends, while it is nice, being able to see the progress of that tournament, it's not like you're shutting off ESPN. That's not what that is, I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, aside from like I'm on a School of Fish complaint, one of the things that that scoreboard reveals is if you and I are fishing 50 yards from each other,
yeah,
and I see the score for you start to go up, I'm going to start edging closer to you, and you see that a lot.
Yeah,
people start to close in on where fish are, and I've heard that over and over again from every division. Every person, it is annoying. So somebody's worked hard to catch fish, and now you've got an indicator. You're
basically saying, hey, I'm catching them, and you saw me over here. This is where they're at. Yeah, that's a good point, Sean.
It's fucking it, and it happens constantly. And then the other thing is, and this is something that got brought up, and they've been open about, was there was a lot of sandbagging going on in the Mass Maulers Maniacs game for KFL last week, week one.
Yep.
And then there were, accusations of hypocrisy because in the playoffs last year, Ken Wood held a fish till the last 10 or 15 minutes. So it wouldn't fire up the other team.
Yeah.
And he was right. They got all fired up and started fishing a lot harder than they would have because they thought they were up.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, sandbagging. I'm not giving Ken a free pass here. I understand the strategy of it. I would not have done it myself. Okay. It shoots the whole real-time thing in the foot. But if you turn everything off, you don't see it. Now, this is an extreme answer, and what I'm proposing is definitely from the military's book of all it takes is one guy to fuck it up, and then everybody loses it.
Yep.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
But it's doing so much damage, I think it should be off.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see what happens.
I don't see a lot of – it's not drawing in record numbers of people to fucking – I mean – hey, the 10 people besides me, Nelson, Jerry, and Russ that showed up were real excited to be there. You know what I mean? It was a fucking party. There were strippers and cocaine. It was nuts. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, I might ask for the Western Division get shut off because it's just fucking it's worthless, especially when we had somebody doing it in ours knowingly last week, and I was like,
especially after you said not to. I mean, that's the issue. This is why we have the issues that we have. You set something out, and you have to make these broad adjustments because you can't count on people to have the scruples to not be dicks.
No, and
it's
and
just
it
a dick move. Let's be honest. Sandbagging alone, at the if nothing else, at the smallest iota, it's just a dick move.
Yeah, it sucks. So, yeah, that's where I'm at on sandbagging. I don't like it at all. I think it's fucking stupid, and I think no matter what my feelings are about it, it hurts the sport.
Yeah,
and it hurts products. And again.
And ultimately, it's going to hurt your sponsorships, which hurts your wallet.
That's the thing, man. You and I talked about this again. I had a conversation with somebody who's going to remain nameless that they just don't get it. I don't know how many times I could bring up this fucking underwear gnomes analogy.
Yeah.
But there is should we I'm going to pull back the beef curtains a little bit on what you and I have discussed over the past couple of years and how you have really gotten me to open my eyes.
Do it up.
All right. How many competitive kayak anglers do you think there are in one of the most populous states in the Union, Massachusetts? Competitive kayak anglers.
Kayak angler? You're asking me for a number?
Yeah, no, just throw a number out. How many do you think? I mean, we've got what? We've got the two MAKB trails, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's limits on that, but would you say what, 100 to 150 people right there?
I'll say
right?
across the whole state and being with various different organizations, I'd say it's less than 500.
Less than 500, right? Yeah. Competitive kayak anglers.
Yep.
You know how many fishing licenses were sold in Massachusetts last year, I think it was?
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, 65,000.
Oh, 65,000. I thought it was going to be the
it was low.
Yeah.
So 65,000 and 500. Yep. All right. Competitive kayak anglers really fucking believe that if they win a big tournament, aside from whatever money they win, sponsors are going to be lined up at the fucking dock waiting for them. whether they have Instagram, they have 6 followers on Instagram, 9 followers on fucking Twitter. They think, hey, I won. Look at me. I don't have to do any work. Somebody's going to give me fucking money. I just did the work because I caught fish. No one gives a fuck about the fish.
Yeah.
They give a fuck about selling products.
Yeah.
If you have social media, you can do that.
Yeah.
If you have a big following, you can do that.
Yeah.
If you don't fucking have any of that, it doesn't matter how many fucking 20-inch fish you catch. No one gives a fucking shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead and keep sandbagging and winning tournaments. Walk away with those $1,000 checks. And then when sponsors don't approach you, don't ask why. Because you're fucking putting, some goddamn political thing up on your fucking Facebook and 3 people are liking it.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's it.
And a lot of
get
people,
with it.
they like to put this, tournament angling, it's all the same, so, so-and-so is in, the Bassmaster Classic and, such and such happened. They caught this huge fish and look at all the money that they're making. Yes, but they're involved in this organization that's doing a lot of the fucking shit for them. If nothing else, it's getting them seen.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to understand, there's part of what's missing there is the media. You know what I mean? Yeah. You go out and you fish for Slay Nation or MAKB or any Bassin or whatever, and you know what? The people on the water are generally the only ones that give a fuck unless you have an audience to show what you're accomplishing that's engaged.
Let's play a game here.
Yeah.
Let's play a game. So let's say that the sponsors are lined up at the dock.
Yep.
And they say, and you say, hey, I just caught 5 20-inch fish, and they stare at you and you stare at them, and the sponsors say, why do I care? But I caught it with your lures. Again, why do I care?
Yeah.
Are you going to tell a lot of people about it, that you caught these fish with our lures? Because that's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you going to do that? Are you going to get a bullhorn and yell it from the docks?
Yep.
Probably not, because now you're fucked. Or are you going to get social media and start talking about it through posts?
Yeah.
And through pictures and through reels and through fucking, I don't care. But we're getting off topic.
We are totally getting off topic.
It just spilled over into that. The bottom line is sandbagging hurts everything. It hurts the fucking sport for the new people coming up, because the first thing is they're new and they're bright-eyed and they're saying, why would somebody fuck with the scoreboard like that?
Yeah.
We have this awesome scoreboard. Why would you use it like that?
Yeah, exactly.
To be a dick. And then for an organization like KFL,
that's the answer. Because I can. And if I can, I do. Fuck you.
Yeah.
All right, fine. We'll just take that away from you.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to do. And then the other thing is, it hurts an organization like KFL that is trying to go real time. And again, we have an affiliation with the KFL this year.
Yeah.
We didn't last year, and it didn't even cross my mind about this. Now that it's in my face and I have to start asking questions,
once you start seeing it, you can see how this affects the overall, the overall success of everything, of the team, of the players, for the fan, the owners, everything.
Yeah, it's fucking, he needs to go. So I don't know if my answer is the appropriate one. Maybe putting a limit on fish submissions. Like, hey, if you don't submit it within 30 minutes, your fish is gone. That would be good. I don't know. That's sandbagging. Like I said, it's annoying.
Yeah.
And it's fucking unsportsmanlike for smaller tournaments. For something like the KFL, it can be a death knell. That's not good. So,
it would be amazing too if they put a rule in place like that, where if you don't submit a fish within 30 minutes of catching it, you're it's disqualified, or there's a penalty, maybe a whole inch, something like that. You do something like that, where you put the real pressure on for people to put their fish in, and they have to do it that way. I think you're probably going to see exactly how good your self-service is, because I'll tell you what, if I really couldn't submit my fish within 30 minutes and I was losing out because of it, I would be ringing somebody's bell about, hey, what the fuck? This is bullshit. You're going to see people really complaining like, no, I didn't have service. There was nothing I could do, Yeah. But I think you're going to find that most people are just holding back and using that excuse as a crutch. I think the overall amount of people using that excuse will actually go down, because you'll see fish that are going to come back in,
Yep. I agree with you.
Yeah.
So, like I said, there's a problem throughout competitive fishing. I've offered a solution.
Yep.
Is it extreme? Probably. Do I care?
No. Sometimes you have to do extreme stuff to get shit done.
I agree.
So
that's our hot topic for the week. You want to take a little break there, buddy?
It's very hot, dude. Let's take a break. We're gonna come back, guys. We got Just the Tip, we got FTG, and a full slew of what's been going on tournament-wise. Get into the actual numbers of it all. That's all coming up in the next segment, guys. Don't go too far. We got much more good Jigs and Bigs action for you right after this. Jigs and Bigs wants to take a moment to say thank you to our partners for helping us continue to push the limits of our fishing adventures and bring you amazing long-form content. We want to thank Old Glory Outdoors in East Brookfield, Massachusetts. Old Glory has an amazing selection of fishing tackle, including 6th Sense, Guggen Baits, X-Zone Lures, Shimano, Daiwa, Luz, 13 Fishing, Arc Rods, and many more. Use promo code Jigs and Bigs at oldgloryoutdoors.com and in-store to save yourself some money and support the show. For all your premium kayak needs, we partner with Three Bells Outfitters, located along Smith Cove in Niantic, Connecticut. Three Bells is your go-to location for kayaks and accessories from Hobie, Native, Bonafide, Jackson, Yak Attack, Naqua, Boondocks, Burley Pro, and many more. Financing options are available to upgrade you and your kayak fishing experience. White glove delivery service is also available. Visit threebellsoutfitters.com for more info, and don't forget to tell them that Jigs and Bigs sent you. When it comes to high-quality polarized sunglasses, we've partnered with Torres. They provide stylish sunglasses in a variety of frames that are light and fit comfortably on your face. The polarization cuts glare and allows you to see the whole picture, helping you identify what's below the water's surface. They have a 60-day risk-free trial, lifetime warranty, and free shipping. Plus, you can save yourself 10% with the code JIGSandBigs10 at checkout. Visit Torrege.com to check out their selection. That's www.torege.com. Again, we cannot thank our partners enough for their support. Please consider supporting them and supporting the show in the same process. Thanks.
Bobby and Sean now have a special presentation for us all. They'd like to give everyone just the tip.
You're goddamn right, Howie. That's what we're here to do. We're here to educate and entertain. We're here to edutain and entercate. That's what we're here for at Jigs and Bigs. So this week in Just the Tip, I had, I had finally, I felt pretty good. Like I was dialing in some fish for this time of year, that post-spawn bite, a bait that was performing for me, but I felt like I was kind of coming up short when it came to getting a quality hook set. I was not landing nearly as many fish as were biting this bait. So oftentimes, and this happened specifically in this one body of water I've been, where I'll go out there with a plan, things maybe don't turn out right, and then I end up junk fishing. And I know I'm not alone. I talk with people all the time about, they're just like, hey, they're not biting on, what was working for me the last time they were there. I can't really dial in, nothing maybe changed, that I'm aware of. Like there was no big rain. There was nothing, that kind of, did this. But for whatever reason, most of us go off the rails. We just start throwing everything at them. Like, oh, maybe they want a jerk bait. Oh, maybe I should do this, or maybe I should do that. Or, almost like they're just kind of picking a number out of a hat, and they're like, this is going to be the winner. You know what I mean? And you get better results from my experience when you dial in and think logically about what it is you're throwing. It's very difficult sometimes to stay dialed into that and think logically about what's happening. So I'm going to give you guys an example. I knew that recently, and I just talked about this in the previous segment, I was throwing a bait that was getting bites, and I was landing some fish, some big fish, but I was missing a whole lot of bites. And I feel like what I needed to do was make a change from an EWG style jig to something open hook. And, I took the color, because they weren't exact, but I took colors that were extremely similar. When I say differences, I'm talking one company's green pumpkin to another company's green pumpkin type thing. And I was playing around with this, and I was using, I was using some JJ's Magic, some chartreuse dip, and specifically placing this in a very similar way on the tail of this bait to get a similar reaction. And I got infinitely better results doing that than if I was just like, well, I'm not getting them on this. Maybe I'll throw a whopper plopper. Maybe I can just, run this across the grass and, I won't get hung up, which is bullshit. I would have definitely gotten hung up. But, maybe I can just, run this over the top of the water and they'll come up and they'll hit it. The reality of it was, like, I had to get this bait down there, so that wouldn't work. Using logic and keeping sort of what you're working with is a great thing. So we talk about this in the interview with Jordan, and I mentioned before in this the interview with him, I said, for me, lots of times I immediately think smaller, slower. And not always in like a linear direction. I said so in the interview, but not always necessarily in that. Like sometimes smaller and slower is a good thing. And then from there you can play with things like color. So for me, what I have found is making like smaller variations to figure out what exactly is working. Now, on the other end of it, I've also had this happen before where I might get a bite on something that's a finessier type tactic, but I am looking for a bigger bite. In that sense, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll take a good look at what I'm doing and I'll try and put something together that is a larger presentation to maybe incite that larger bite. Something along those lines. And this comes into play where recently I was throwing wacky rig trick worms, and I was getting follows, but they weren't ever committing to the bite. And then I made a color change, and it's like the fish tell you what's working. You just have to, think more in terms of like a formula. Think of the logic involved. Well, if this approach is working and this shallow, finesse presentation is getting the interest of the fish that are in this area, and I know that there are fish here, what is it that's going to happen that can get them to bite? And making an adjustment within there is a great thing. Once you settle, I think, from my opinion, once you settle on a shape and a speed, of the way and a presentation, the way that you're working some kind of a bait, then you can start playing around with color. For I know, just speaking from like what I keep in my day box, what I've got, I don't always have linear moves to go, oh, this color is working, we're going to throw the same color in this other presentation. Like I might not have a June bug topwater, like just to switch it up. So, I mean, that's one of those things. Like I know I use that example specifically because, yeah, that is a weird combo. I usually, for topwater stuff, I don't throw a lot of June bug, maybe I should. Fuck.
I do.
Now I'm throwing junk fishing again. But I try and stay as analytical as you can while you're out there when you run into challenges. When you run into situations where you're like, so what do I do? They're not biting this. This isn't effective, with what I'm doing. And the beauty of it is that's the luxury of fishing with a lot of soft plastics is that there's so much customization.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I remember specifically one time a year where I was fishing a pond with my buddy and he was throwing a whopper plopper or a whopper plopper style bait. And it was something with like a really bright, like chartreuse belly or something like that. And he was just smoking fish like left and right. Now I had a plopper in my box as well. I actually had two. I had a light color one and a dark color one. Both of them were just doing nothing for me. And I was like, maybe it's that chartreuse. And I happen to have in my box, or actually I had this bag of various plastics. My daughter had gone on a beach trip and she wanted to bring me back something from the beach, and she bought me a bunch of like saltwater, like the gulp style baits, like those curly tail, but they're really fat. They're huge. Yep. And I couldn't, like, they were so fat that like the hooks on my jig heads would not allow enough gap at all for me to hook any kind of fish. So what I did was I took my scissors that I normally just use to cut braid, and I basically trimmed it down, like cut little pieces off to thin it down a little bit and make it more like the size of like a curly tail grub. And I threw this on a jig head, and it was bright chartreuse, and it finally then started working. So like it was one of those situations where it is making the best out of what you've got and using your head, to get in there versus like, well, I'm going to throw this and maybe that'll work, Oh, I occasionally get bit on this, but not taking into consideration any of the conditions or what's actually right in front of you.
Yeah.
Where do you weigh in on this, Sean?
I think we've talked about this a couple times in a similar manner of when you get out there, you have to, the biggest thing to avoid that junk fishing feeling is to really understand the characteristics of every lure you're throwing.
Yeah.
The color,
the
shape, or if you want to call it the profile, color, shape or profile, and, we'll call it the retrieve style. Is it a jig? Are you hopping it? Are you reeling it? Are you doing something different?
And often that's the first adjustment you should make before you cut anything off.
You realize, okay, so you need to know those three things. And then I always recommend, and I've said this before, just tweaking your presentation in one way when you change lures. So great example. I was throwing a chatterbait the other day at Champlain on the pre-fishing day, and I was not having any luck with it. It was a certain color. When I changed lures, I didn't change the color. I changed lure completely to the same color crankbait, but I had a choice between a square bill crankbait, so nice big fat profile, or a lipless, which is obviously a slimmer profile. So I said, well, I'll go with a square bill, and I went with that, and I think it helped because I stayed with the same color pattern, and that's what triggered some fish. I got a few fish that day, and then I went with that. I stayed that. I said, okay, so now I've gone to a square bill. I'm going to tweak the color a little more. And when I tweaked it again and went to something just a bit off, that's what triggered a lot of bites. And then I caught a bunch of fish on Friday doing that.
Okay.
Particularly the pike.
Yep.
So, which I was happy with. No one likes pike. I love pike.
Yep.
Fuck you guys.
What was the thought process of the color? Like, were you just looking to like throw like a wild card out there, like to see what would happen, or?
No, the first crankbait I threw was a very similar color, but it was I had two crankbaits that had some similarities to the original color, but it was of the chatterbait, but it wasn't. Neither of them was quite right, so I tried one, then the other.
Yep.
Because it was a pre-fishing day, you get away with stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, experiment.
Yeah.
It paid off, and then the next day they didn't hit any of that shit. They went back to the chatterbait.
Isn't that fucking magic?
Yeah. So what are you gonna do?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's my take on it.
Yeah. I mean, I think if there's one like takeaway that I think is really important is don't lose sight of keeping your head in the game when you're trying to get on fish. Like, don't let them outsmart you, and then you get into this. We all think of junk fishing as this spiral that's out of control of like, I'm going to throw this. Oh, I haven't thrown this in a while. I'm going to do this. Maybe they're going to bite this. Let's change the presentation entirely. If you can focus on it, and it's easier said than done. Like, it's one thing for me to be wearing some headphones in front of a microphone saying this to you guys than it is to be out on the water and you've got, your bag or your box out in front of you and you're just like, what the hell am I going to throw? But if you can just tap yourself on the shoulder mentally and think, let's do this analytically. Let's look at what we have in front of us. What are the fish actually telling me? You hear that all the time. And when I first heard it, the fish will tell you what they want. Like, I heard it all the time and it never made any sense. I'm like, that is bullshit. No, it's not. It's true.
Correct.
there has to be information there. Sometimes not getting bit doesn't seem like information, but it is. That is when people tend to really start junk fishing, when there's no follows, there's no information. They're like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And that's why I said that, Sean, about adjusting. Before you cut something off, change the way that you're fishing it. Because a good example is I was initially swimming this bait over the tops of grass and basically just letting it drop down, when in reality all of my bites came when I would let it hit the bottom and then just drag it a little bit and then hop it up, swim it, and then let it hit the bottom again. And I would just do almost like a yo-yo, or like a modified yo-yo pattern along the bottom, and it would 100% get caught up in grass, and when it did, I would just rip it like I would a lipless.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think that kind of goes without saying.
Yeah.
I would hope it would go without saying. We, probably should say that. Yeah, before you do go to another lure, definitely try everything you can. If it's a lure that can be worked in different ways, go for it. Change up a cadence, change up a pause time, anything like that, and then, because changing lures takes time. Yeah. Then do it,
Take the lure and give it a pep talk,
Yes. Yep.
All right, I think that's about it. Hopefully, you guys can learn a little bit something from our, info that we give you guys here. Hopefully, we can get you on some more fish. And with that said, I've been looking forward to this segment all show.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
Today's FTG is all about Lake Champlain instant karma, and I, for one, am intrigued as hell. Sean, go for it.
I don't know if this is going to be the best FTG we've ever had. This isn't anywhere near on the level of the boat ramp car wash.
Oh, God.
This was a little bit of etiquette, as we always say etiquette when you're fishing tournaments. It's part of our captain's briefings when we give them for any division or whatever. And one of the things with etiquette is staying 50 yards away from anybody else.
Yep.
Etiquette dictates, like I follow it. If I'm going to move anywhere near somebody, if there's a tight passage or whatever, I'll say to that person, do you mind if I pass by you? I won't fish. I just want to get around you. If they say no, that's their business. That's fine. I'll say, okay, no problem. You got it here. It's their right. They've got that water. That doesn't, in bigger tournaments, there's a lot of ignoring that. And sometimes you see anglers clump together, whether they're acting as a team or somebody just moved in and fucking that's the way it's going to be. I would complain about it if I saw somebody getting 50 yards within me. Near my 50 yards near my boat. So Saturday I was fishing. I was fishing an general area that another angler had been fishing earlier in the morning, and that angler returned. And I'm not going to drop that angler's name because I don't give a shit. I don't have any beef with the guy. I don't care. And I saw the angler coming almost directly for me from the other side of the lake. And I'm like, is this guy going to hit me? Like, what the fuck's going on? And then I just kind of forget about it, go back to fishing. I was working a submerged weed bed in about 8 to 10 feet of water. And this guy was working some shallower structure. And then I hear sloshing of waves, and he had a fucking trolling motor on his boat. And he went right by me within like 15 feet. Behind me, I will say that. I got to give him credit. He went behind me. He didn't cut in front of me where I was casting. None of the fish that I was fishing were affected, but he came that close.
Yeah.
So I snapped my head around when he went by, and he's like, "Oh, hey man, you good?" I'm like, "Yeah." And in my head, I'm thinking,
"Fuck you.
Why didn't you say I'm passing behind you?
Yeah.
I'm just going past. Is that okay? Hell, why didn't you give me 50 fucking feet or 50 yards? Right? Why didn't you do that? This is fucking Lake Champlain.
Yeah.
There's the fuck that guy. Here's where the instant karma comes in. As he was like 20 or 30 feet away from me and starting to cast, again, not in a direction I was casting in, shallower water. First cast, I don't know what lure he had on, but he snapped it clean off. And he's like, fuck, and just put his head down. And I said to myself, that's what you fucking get. And I went back to fishing. So again, not the most exciting fuck that guy. Broke some etiquette, paid for it. That's what you get. Fuck that guy.
You know what? We can actually double down on this a little bit regarding etiquette. We really can, because I had an experience this week that I had shared with you, and I have photographic evidence of this experience, which I will post on Instagram. And I know we said like that we could bank this one and use it for another time, but I feel like it partners with this etiquette thing, like right on the money. And I love the fact that it was not a tournament situation. This was just going out and doing some fishing, you know?
Yep.
So picture the scene. I'm in my kayak and I'm fishing this one area of this pond, having a day of it, and I get snagged. I get snagged up on a stump or something under the water, and I'm moving in closer to to free up my bait so I can continue on to the next spot. So I'm in this area, and I am between two laydowns that are probably about 40 or 50 feet apart from one another. And so I'm in here, and I'm actually probably even less than that, maybe more like 30 feet. I'm in here, and I'm trying to get my bait unstuck, and here comes this one guy. This one guy looks like a character out of the show King of the Hill. He has like longer hair, and he comes over, and he was just having a grand old time in a banana yellow Sun Dolphin sit-in kayak, right? Paddles over. He's got half of a paddle, and he's going by. He asks, "Oh, how you doing? You catching anything?" And that's fine. He was probably about 30 yards away from me, right? No,
Yep.
no. What did I say? He was probably realistically, about 40 or 50 feet away from me at this point. Plenty of space, right? And I was like, oh, got some bites, couple of little ones, but, it's been slow. He's like, oh, yeah, I caught a 3.5 pounder over by this spot over here. Sometimes I catch some big ones over here, but it's a good one. I was like, oh, man, that's great. Good for you. Again, just humoring the guy. Also swearing in my own mind because I'm trying to free up a bait. I finally get it free, and I take another cast. And this guy starts paddling over to me. And I'm like, dude, are you what? So he gets up parallel with my kayak. He is now closer to the shore. He went around the back of me, and I am parallel to the shore, but I'm set further off. So he comes in between that little space to show me his fucking phone with this 3.5 pounder. And at this point, I'm blown away. I'm like, are you serious, man? Now, Sean had told me after the fact, after we talked about it, he's like, dude, you have a wild card in your pocket, though. He goes, all you got to do is tell him that you're in an online tournament. Hey, can you leave me alone while I'm fishing? And I was like, oh, absolutely. But again, me being me, I see the content. I want this to unfold so I can tell the tale of fuckery to all of you. So what happened was this. I'm sitting there and I'm like, is this actually happening? I'm like, yeah. I go, that's a fish. That's what I said to him. I was like, that's a fish. I continue fishing this area. This guy goes back out to where he was, not fully out. So now he's maybe about 20 feet away from me. And I go, motherfucker, if he pulls a 2-piece rod out of that kayak and starts fishing right now, my jaw is going to hit the floor of this boat. And he did. He pulled out a 2-piece ugly stick spinning combo and started throwing around a jerkbait. And just, as a matter of fact, I think he even got that bait caught into a tree at one point or another, because I did see him paddling over to free it up from this other spot. So kind of that instant karma too. But I was like, you've got to be shitting me. So I'm going to post a pic of this guy, because while he was over in this area, I was like, no, I have to take a picture of this guy, and because he's making the Instagram. We're gonna make him Jigs and Bigs famous. It's what we're going to do. And no bullshit, Sean, I saw the same guy talking some other kayaker's ear off on Sunday while I was out with Gravy. The same guy. I'm like, God damn it. So, yeah, next time I see the dude that I think probably fronts a Tom Petty cover band, I am going to tell him that I'm in a tournament and to fucking get the fuck off.
The fuckery.
The amount of fuckery. Can you believe it? I can't believe it.
Speaking of tournaments, my friend.
Yes. Are you ready?
Yeah. I love my Dothraki stuff.
Of course.
I'm actually, as we're talking here, I'm actually updating. All right. There's a couple of, hold on. Oh my God, Bobby, talk quick. Oh
All
my
right.
God.
Hey, hi guys. I'm Bobby Roast Beef. I'm the host of this show right here. I'm not 100% sure what the hell Sean the Fisherman's doing right now, but it sounds like it's an emergency situation. There's Dothraki wedding music playing in the background, and he's going to talk about tournaments. Why? Because that's what Sean does. Sean's the tournament angler guy. He's the guy that knows the numbers, the statistics. Hell, he knows all the action that's happened. Are you good?
It's actually done a second ago, but you were doing such a good job.
Oh, okay. Good.
All right. Well, I'm going to get this out of the way first because it was everything from our hot topic to my whole week. 2 days at Champlain. We fished one of them. I'll cover both because I'm nice. I'm going to go ahead and give KBF a little press here.
Hey, there you go.
There you go. All right. Saturday. I'll go top 10 spots. 10th place Saturday. And I'm going to show you, I'm only going to say two total bags, the first and the 10th, just to show what the disparity was.
Yep.
Saturday, 10th place with 92 3/4 inches, Jerry Multi-House. 9th place, Justin Lacasse. 8th place, Jason Isaacs. 7th place, Jody Queen. 6th place, we actually found out we fucked up this guy's name pretty bad on the KFL show last week.
Yep.
Ryan Matovich is 6th place. 5th place, Matt Ball. 4th place, Tyler Sweet. Good job, Tyler. 3rd place, Nick Audie. 2nd place, Jake Angulis. 1st place, Drew Gregory. I say good job, Tyler. Tyler's obviously a member of the Three Bells fishing team. He's on the national team. And those fish he caught helped propel the New York Empire to their win on the lake. And
That's awesome.
We'll talk about that on Thursday.
That's awesome. I love it.
Sunday, 10th place. I'm sorry. Drew Gregory won with 95.75.
Yep.
So that was 3 inches of difference between 1st and 10th. And if you didn't crack 92, good luck. That was tight. I mean, I finished 20th and I had 88 even.
Yeah.
So not even 10 inches separated 1st and 20th. So that was a tight, competition up there. Sunday, 10th place, 93 inches, Ryan Melia. 9th place, Will Dowd Martin. 8th place, John Richardson, our boy.
Nice, John.
7th place, Adam Patron. 6th place, Alex Miller. 5th, Ryan Matalovich. 4th, Chris Gomes. 3rd, another one of our guys, Derek Brundle. 2nd, Mike Elsey. 1st, again, Drew Gregory, 96.5. So 3.5 inches separated on Sunday. Now,
that's crazy.
For the tournament, if you look on Fishing Chaos, if you go into the big bass pool, there were 13 fish listed as being over 20 inches. I caught one of them. Mm-hmm. The 14th was not listed due to not being part of Fishing Chaos or not or unfamiliarity with the Fishing Chaos on multiple submissions at one time. Jerry actually had a 20.5, which tied the leaders. I don't know how it would have fallen because the tiebreaker for that is by time, which I think is silly, but there's other ways to do it. Yeah. So that was your KBF up at Champlain for 2 days. Congrats to Drew Gregory on both days. Congrats to all of our friends and friends of the show. Jerry, fucking John, Derek. Great job, guys. Nice placing.
Excellent.
All right.
Work.
Now, Bobby Roast Beef.
Yes.
Now on to the main event. We have a Jigs and Bigs tournament going on.
Indeed, we do.
And I just updated it. That's what was taking so much time.
Oh, okay.
Because there were some fish put in yesterday that while I was driving home that have changed the leaderboard up a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Just a wee bit. I'm gonna go ahead and put this where it goes, and boom. All right. So let's start with, where do I want to put this? Okay, we'll go with first, second, third, fifth. Let's do down to 6th place.
Okay. I love it. Sixth place is a good
place. Tied. Nelson and Andrew Heath. 6 points apiece. Then 5th place. Todd Sefton made a big run. When we were doing this when we were doing this judging the other night.
Yep.
I know you're jealous. We got to judge and you didn't, Bobby. When we were doing the judging the other night, Nelson and myself, I just started picking up that Todd had put in a lot of fish. I said, wow, I wonder where he's going to land. So he's in 5th by himself with 8 points. 4th, Brian Tonello by himself with 9 points.
Yep.
And then third, myself still, 10 points. Second place, Brant Rowland, 12 points. First place, Jerry Howes, 14 points. Now,
That's awesome.
I had mentioned earlier that I'd got a 20.25 smallmouth and was all excited about it. I put the thing in, and then I put it into Jigs and Bigs, and then I realized Jerry had gotten a 20.5 and put it in Jigs and Bigs. And said, "You son of a bitch." I said, "Thanks a lot, Jerry." I thought I was a badass there for a minute, but those points count towards total length. Right now for total length, I was tied going into this morning, until I judged those fish a little while ago. Brant Rowland and I were tied for total length at 233.5, and then he put up a lot more fish, and he is at 286.75. So Brant is on the precipice once again of breaking 300 inches.
Yeah, he
He's
is
the only Jigs and Bigs or Chronic Trips competitor to ever do that. Again, we found that amazing because you would figure with saltwater and Chronic Trips somebody would do that, and no one's done it.
And it didn't happen. Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I have to change one other thing. I got to drop my point total. You know why?
Oh, why's that?
Because Brant took the NE5 from me right there.
Oh,
I had put all those pike in.
Yep.
So Brant is actually at 13. I am actually at 9. So Brant is 1 behind Jerry. I'm at 9. So what I have to do is I got to get me on some fucking trouts. Walleye's probably a bit out of reach, but I can try. You know what's strange? I think I might have two points in my pocket here.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and say
Okay.
I might. I got permission from the wife to go out to Cape Cod one day this week or next.
Yeah.
And I have a pond that I like to hit that has pickerel in it, and they average anywhere from 23 to 26.
Good
what I'm
size
doing.
pickerel.
So
Nice.
if I can get on a big pickerel, I will be very happy. And that could
Could happen.
you know,
Yeah.
what the biggest one right now is 20 3/4 that Brian Tonello has. So I'll be shooting for a biggin. And I got to get a catfish, a carp, and a bowfin. Oh, that bowfin and the walleye. Those are tough.
We are Jigs and Bigs, though. We're looking for those bigs.
I'll tell you what. This
Yep.
is a Jigs and Bigs tournament, as we know. Pretty much anything goes except for staying out of private waters.
Yep.
When you and I go out today, you know what I'm bringing with us?
I'm bringing a cooler.
I'm bringing a bucket.
Yeah.
Some shiners.
I know. Yeah.
I'll get out there. I know a place that has brown trouts.
I want to put some
they'll eat a
trouts.
shiner.
I want to put some trouts on the grill. That's what I want to do.
That could be a result of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And the only thing I have left to say is we have the Jigs and Bigs, believe it or not, still has 2 days left to register, and we're going to get ahead of this one. You ready for this?
Hit me with some funny shit.
Chronic Trips registration.
Oh, yeah.
Opens up. Hold on, let me find it.
Middle of this month, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna give an exact date though. So I got ahead of the game because I'm a smart raccoon.
You did. The smartest of raccoons.
Chronic Trips July opens up on ticket sales start tomorrow. 6:14.
That's beautiful.
12:01 a.m. Eastern. Get ready for Chronic Trips, and I'm gonna say this. I'm going to be doing quite a bit of saltwater fishing for this.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Yeah, I've got. I actually am dropping off one of my uncles who used to fish quite a bit. Actually, took me a number of times out in his canoe. He's getting back into fishing, and he said, "Sean, I know you buy stuff. You know it's good. Here's some money. Buy me a rod and reel combo for surf casting, which I don't know fuck about, but I know Nelson, and Nelson knows surf casting.
Yeah, he does.
So I got myself a rod, my uncle a rod and reel combo, same rods, and then I had a reel that Nelson threw my way last year. I'm excited. There's going to be some surf casting going on, so I'm going to do some ocean fishing. Hopefully, get on a bluefish and a striper. We'll see what happens.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah. But that's that. Chronic Trips opens up in a day.
Yep.
And we're rocking and rolling here. We got a lot of tournaments. Just tournaments. We are in tournament season, the heart of it, baby. Get out there and fish. Pay some people money to fish and win some fucking money to fish.
I freaking love it, dude.
Love
I freaking love it.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Awesome, dude. Well, hey, that's your tournament update, folks. All your good stuff. We still have a couple weeks left in the June tournament, so join us. You got a couple of days before registration is shut off, so I would highly recommend you put a little bit of work in and do this and make it happen, dude. Yeah, I think that's the plan tonight. cooler. See if we can catch some trout.
Shiners.
It's grill time. Yeah, grill time.
Shiner.
Yeah,
We could do some grilled trout tonight. Let's see if we can catch some trout.
yeah. That would be great. That would be fantastic. Catch the trouts. Shiners on Rig X.
Ooh, dump, yeah. Oh yeah, dump them in the water. Let's go. Let's do this.
Make some shit happen. Oh, folks, I hope you've been enjoying this. I sure as hell have been enjoying this. This has been a great show so far. I feel good about it. We've got more Jigs and Bigs goodness coming up after this next break. We've got the one and only JC Swag on the show. Jordan Capponi. He is one of the first 10 guests I think I've ever had on this show. And we get to catch up with him, find out a little bit about what's been going on with him. He's got a big announcement. Very, very, very cool stuff. Very happy for what's going on with him and his wife and their growing family. So we will see you guys after this short break for more Jigs and Bigs goodness. You're also going to want to stick around for segment 3 because we got a little bit of information that we're going to drop right at the end of the show to let you guys know something cool that I think you're going to like. We'll see you guys right after this. Jigs and Bigs is your favorite fishing podcast, right? Why not show the world how much you love the show while directly supporting us? We have men's and ladies' shirts, hoodies, and a variety of hats. We even have a waterproof outdoor Bluetooth speaker so you can listen to your favorite podcast while out on the water if you like. Check out jigsandbigs.com/shop to visit the store and gear yourself up. If you really can't get enough of this show, consider becoming a jighead and joining our Patreon. It's a subscription that gives you exclusive access to recording sessions that allow you to engage with us as we record the show. We also have some exclusive content there just for our jigheads and even have some special promo codes. Space is limited, so join now at jigsandbigs.com. Finally, if you're local to our area in Western Massachusetts, consider checking out the Western Mass Fishing Report, posted weekly at northeastwildwoman.com. We have amazing contributors providing great content and info for local conditions and what's been going on and working recently. Jigs and Bigs, so much more than just two lightly roasted hippies trapped in the 90s arguing on the internet about fishing. Alrighty, guys. Bobby Roast Beef here with Jigs and Bigs interview. I love these opportunities when we have a guest that we've had previously on the show and kind of getting back into it. We've got Jordan Capponi in the house.
What's up?
Yes, the one and only JC Swag. One of the OG guests in that first dozen or so shows when Jigs and Bigs first started. Yeah, goes way back. Yeah. I was like...
It does.
And it's funny.
Dude, I was thinking about this earlier.
Yeah.
I have so much. There's so much I could talk to you about since our first interview. You have no idea.
No, that's awesome.
I've learned so much. I have big news. I have life-changing stuff going on. There's so much happening right now.
Dude, that's
so
awesome.
It's really, this is a perfect time to do this. You know what I'm saying?
That's
awesome.
And
I've been wanting to do it for a while, but it's just been crazy. Life, you know what I mean? It's just been crazy and I haven't had a good opportunity but dude, so much has happened and I'm pumped.
So
I'm excited.
Let's catch everybody up. So the last time you were on the show, you weren't married yet. That was right up on the horizon. So how's married life? Everything good?
Okay. This is dude, you just led me into the perfect thing right here.
Perfect.
Okay. So married life is great. All right.
Yep.
Me and my wife, we're good. You know what I mean? We're good. Love is in the air, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's great.
So this is what's leading me up to this. So I have a big announcement for everybody.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know how much you guys know about our past and how we've been trying to have kids and we've had some bad luck, but I can officially say,
dude,
that we're gonna have a baby.
Dude. Wow.
Yes.
That's awesome, man. Oh, that is great. Good for you, dude. Congratulations.
Yeah. I've told a few of my friends here, that I usually talk to locally, and you know what I'm saying. But we're official. We're official. I think we're almost at 20 weeks. So.
Oh wow, dude, that's awesome, man. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
JC Swag, the daddy. Look at that.
Yep. And it's a boy.
Oh wow, man. Dude.
My fishing buddy. He's going to be my fishing buddy.
That is awesome.
So we'll see.
That is
We'll
great.
see.
Oh, wow. So cool, man.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you. That's great. Congratulations to both of you
man.
guys.
Thank you.
That is awesome.
Hey, hats off to Ashley. She's handling it like a champ, and we've just been getting stuff ready. But
for
hats
sure.
off to her. I love her to death. She's a trooper, and
Yep.
I don't know what I'd do without her. So,
dude, that is huge, man. Family is like it's amazing. Like my oldest this summer is turning 18. She's going to college in the fall. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. And it's like I look at her like so she graduated high school, and we're at her high school graduation, and one of her professors, one of her teachers was making one of the speeches earlier on, and I guess he's known for like pop culture references. And there was this Subaru commercial that I remember that came out about the time when Chloe was born. And he's like, he goes, and this commercial is like the perfect sort of like visual representation of exactly what's going on here. Basically, there's this little girl sitting in the front seat of this Subaru like Forester or something. I guess it's a lifestyle, like I suppose. But she's sitting in this Subaru lifestyle, and the dad is outside going like, make sure that you leave plenty of room when you stop behind a car, use your turn signals, don't speed, blah, 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 all this other stuff. And then the camera cuts away, and it's her is like, a 17-year-old kid like, okay, Dad, thanks. Yeah. And it's true, man. It's going to blow your mind. Like this is, I don't care what anybody says. Like fishing is wonderful and it's amazing. It is the second best adventure of my life after having a family. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally, dude. I'm so excited. Like you have no idea. Like
dude,
we actually just before I got on here, we were like we slowly putting stuff together in the nursery and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And like I guess when we first kind of found out, I was painting the nursery, which used to be our guest bedroom. Yeah. And it was like, this is crazy. Like I'm sitting here painting my kid's room. You know what I mean?
It's
like
surreal. Yeah.
Like hit me, and it was, I think about like, what's he going to be like? Is he going to like sports? Is he going to be more artistic? Is it, you know what I'm saying? Like all this crazy stuff that goes through your head and, and then it comes to how are you going to handle, situations, you know what I mean? And anyway, I could go on for hours just talking about
definitely.
And we're very excited.
There's no preparing for all that stuff. Like there's some of it you just have to kind of like, you can prepare yourself like how well you think, but when you're actually like like living that life, dude, it's wild. Good for you, man. I'm happy for you guys. That is really,
thank you.
Huge.
We really do appreciate that. And I also want to just a huge shout out to everyone that's like, helped us through all the unfortunate things. And I got a lot of, feedback and a lot of, just support from tons of people when I put out my YouTube video kind of about, what happened and why I kind of slowed down for a while. And it just huge shout out to everybody for, helping us kind of like push through and keep, just never quitting and, just keep going.
You got to stick with it. That stuff. It kind of can help carry you along,
Yeah, totally.
Outside support, that's huge, man. That's awesome. Yeah. So what else do you have going on from there? So all right, you're married now. Married life is good. Baby boy on the way. Everybody's happy. Things are great. Now you got a boat a while back.
I did get a boat. It's my baby. Yeah, it's my baby.
How you like boat life?
I love the boat. So I have a 97 Pro Craft with a 115 Mariner on the back. Yep. It's 16 and a half feet long. Yeah. Okay. It's the motor, it's older. You know what I'm saying? It's an older motor.
Oh, yeah.
She takes a little while to crank in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta give it some time, but once she starts up, she's good for the rest of the day. You know what I mean?
That's
One turn, she's good to go. Everything's good, but actually I have some other news about that.
Oh no.
Well, it's nothing like bad, but this kind of goes in the flow of the baby and trying to be responsible.
Sure.
I'm thinking about selling it.
Yeah. That comes with it. It does.
Yeah.
Because there's like, especially like an old boat that needs a little bit of TLC, like,
Yeah. It's hard. People don't understand the work that goes into even just getting it ready for like a fishing trip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just for a day, for going for a few hours, it takes hours before that to even get the boat ready to go. You got to charge the batteries. Yep. You got to make sure everything's good. You got air in your tires, blah, blah, blah. And like where I store my boat, it's right outside my house.
Yeah.
But it's in a very tight spot. So I have to physically turn the boat around, crank it up, get it on the truck. Like it takes a lot of work to get it like ready to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not always as easy as just like, we just roll out and we go, you know?
Exactly. And even like putting the boat in, like putting it into the water takes a lot of time because sometimes there's like a lot of people, there's a lot of pressure.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like getting in that. Anyway, that's beside the fact. Like that's just part of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if you saw, but I actually just got a new fishing kayak too.
Now, I heard something about, I didn't see, what did you pick up?
So I got a Van Hunks pike. It's a 10-foot pike. I actually got it from Eco Fishing Shop. So shout out to Dust Off because he actually helped me out getting me some details on this kayak.
Yep.
So that was awesome. And those guys over there really helped me out to, with all my questions, and they helped me with payments and all that jazz.
Oh, yeah.
So huge shout out to them too. They're great guys over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that in mind, I also found a lake that is really close to my house, like a lot closer to any of the lakes I take the big boat to. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Now, this is semi-private. It's not like 100% private, but it's like sort of private. But it's only like there's no motorized boats allowed on the water. You can only take a kayak.
Yep.
And this place, like I catch so many fish there, dude. Like it's crazy. Like it's one of those things where like I didn't think there was a lake like that in my area unless I drove out like a few hours or something like that. But it's like right there. So for me to sell the boat, I have this nice lake. I got my nice kayak now, and then with the baby on the way, I can load the kayak relatively easily.
Yeah.
Bring it to the new lake, fish for a few hours, catch some fish, and then go home and be still with the family. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, you can kind of keep it local, and there's something to be said about that. It's like when you have bodies of water that are like relatively easy to access. Like before we started talking, I was telling you about how but what my focus has been here is on like super hyper local places and just figuring them out. And using those as a backup. In fact, I was talking with Gravy. I was out fishing with him earlier today, and he was telling me about, I think it was the last tournament he was in, was a rough one for him. And he goes, he's like, so as a confidence builder the next day, I went out for a few hours at a place that I like to go to regularly. And I'm like, that's such a great idea. And I think I'm willing to bet probably the majority of anglers out there do the exact same thing. Like there's just a spot that you've got dialed in because you've got the level of experience there, and you'll go there. Yeah, and you'll go there to boost your confidence elsewhere. Yeah. You're like, okay, I can still catch fish. You know what I mean? I'm not a complete idiot.
Totally. That's how I feel, because like last summer, like spring and fall last year. So last year I did all like big boat stuff. Like that was my main thing. When I bought the boat, it was just all boat stuff. And I kind of we were talking before we started about how you have two lakes that you're sticking with, and you just want to figure out those lakes, right?
Yeah.
I had a lake like that too, that I was like, I have one lake, I'm going to call it my home lake, and I'm going to spend the rest of the year taking my big boat there and just figuring this lake out.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask people about it. I'm going to try to figure out a game plan. So no matter what the conditions are, I can smack them. You know what I'm saying? Like that was all I cared about. Anyway, so like in the summer, like when it got really, really hot, it was like, I'd be lucky to catch 2 fish, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, man, what do I got to do? And then all of a sudden fall came, and I'm out there catching like 6-pounders, you know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, like it's so crazy how some lakes change like so fast. You know what I mean? Like one day it's 0. Like today, I went out today. Okay, this is a great example.
Yep.
I went out today, and yesterday I went out and I crushed it. Okay, absolutely crushed it. Went out today with the same bait and the same everything I used and caught maybe 2 fish. Okay. So it's like, what happened between those? You know what I'm saying? There was I didn't have any rain. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like there was nothing significant, especially in the morning because it's still cool out. Like I can understand if it was like hot midday, I call it the midday lows, like 12 o'clock, and you're like, dang, I can't get a bite to save my life. You know what I mean? Like, so, but it wasn't even midday woes. It was like first thing in the morning. And I'm like, damn, what do I got to do right now? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand. And I called it early. I ended up just going in because I was like, I'm not going to, I could be at home doing something. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I just didn't have the time. So
it's true, man. I've been there plenty of times where I'll be sitting there in the kayak, and I'm just like, what am I even doing here? I'm like, it's been 4 hours. I haven't had a bite. You know?
Hey, what kind of kayak do you have? Because I saw your picture of it today, actually, and I was like, that thing looks sweet. What do you got?
I'm in a native Titan 13.5.
Oh dang!
It's a giant. It's big.
Yeah.
They don't even make that size anymore. Now it's just the largest one they have is a Titan 12. But I love it because it's 41 inches wide.
Dang.
So I can, it's not the easiest thing to lug around. Like I'm not bringing it to like super tiny water or anything like that.
How much does it weigh? Real quick.
I think it weighs like 200 pounds with unrigged. Yeah. It's heavy. So there's, I got it on a trailer. There's no way that's going up on my roof racks or anything like that. No way.
Yeah, totally.
And it's, it's been Three Bells Outfitters has been amazing to us. They had upgraded both the rudder control and the actual rudder with Boondocks and a Burley Pro like hybrid components together. So they've taken really good care of me and stuff. But it's amazing. Like that. Like I like to say all the time how right on the money. Lauren from Three Bells Outfitters was when she was like, Sean is, he goes out and he's fishing, he's in his kayak and he's on a mission. He's got an itinerary. He's got a goal. Like for him, everything's very regimented. And she's like, for me, it's just more of an adventure. It's more of like, we're going to see where the journey takes us, I feel you on that. And there's highs and lows and it's all good. Like, so it's pretty cool. And I think for me, it's an ideal sort of boat for that kind of stuff. Like I've, finally like actually feel really confident using my electronics and knowing what I'm looking at,
That's the next step for me too.
Yep.
I have a good fish finder that I used to use on my old kayak, but I took it off a while ago, but I need to get that thing on there and really learn how what things mean on there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah.
It's weird, because like you got all this stuff like live scope and all, you know what I mean? And it's like obviously you can, live scope is pretty easy to figure out, because you could see it like live right there. But with the older, like I forget exactly what brand I'm using right now for that for the fish finder, but things look like really like old school. I call it like old school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's all that older like 2D sonar that you're looking at, and it's like, all right, but it's amazing. Like you get to notice things, and I'll see like maybe I miss a bite, and I'll find myself looking at, okay, so what's going on? What's the composition right here?
Exactly. So that's what I need to do. I 100% like much respect for that, because that's my next step is getting that thing rigged on my my new kayak. So, yeah,
dude, I'm looking at pictures of that yak, and it's freaking sweet, dude.
Dude, yeah, it's a tank. Now, the only thing I will say, this is the only thing I've had a problem with. So when you're looking at it, it looks like you could stand up pretty easily on it, right? Like it looks like it, but the seat sits pretty low. Like now, there's two notches. You can have it in like this, like the really low one, and then you can have it on the sit on top version, I guess. You know what I'm saying? And it's still like I got long legs. You know what I mean? Like it would take some effort for me to really try to like stand up in it. So if you got long legs, I wouldn't like, if you're wanting to get a kayak you can like stand up in and move around pretty easily. It's not like super easy to get up in, you know what I'm saying? But other than that,
I got to be honest with you. I think that was a big thing with me. I was like, I definitely want to get a kayak that I can stand in. And my old kayak, I would try, but the same thing. Like you're saying, the seat was so low, and I'm not, I'm not tall at all. Actually, I've got really short legs, but I'm a big boy. You know what I mean? So like having a seat in a higher position definitely helps. But the first day I had the Titan delivered, I was actually out in the body of water I was at today, and I was Derek from Three Bells was over there, and I stood up on it. I was just like, all right, let's go ahead and do it. And I was like, today, it was even, there was a couple of big laydowns. I was able to sandwich myself right in between, and I'm like, I'm gonna pitch this jig all over this thing everywhere. And I'm like, I'm gonna stand up and do this. And then I sat there and I'm like, why? Like I can do this just as effectively from my seat in the kayak. Like I realize I don't really get up and stand a whole lot. Even with some techniques that like I kind of think it makes a lot of sense to, frogging, jerk baits, stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because you get used to it. Like you get used to sitting there. Like I remember before I got my boat,
Yep.
I was learning to use a jerkbait and a frog just from my kayak. Now, before my old kayak was that Walmart Tamarack.
Oh yeah.
So you can imagine the struggle with that thing. But yeah, like you get used to just sitting there and figuring out ways to do those techniques from sitting that low in a seat. You know what I mean? But
100%.
Yeah, but I do. There are some times I wish. Now, the only time I wish I could stand up is during spawn, because you can't, like, it's hard to really see the fish from that low.
Yeah,
you know
if
what I
you're
mean?
bed fishing, yeah.
So like that was the one thing I was a little bummed about, because like I kind of got it right around spawn.
Yep.
And I still, you know what I mean? I still couldn't really like see them that well from that low. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, other than that, it's great. I love it. I love it to death. It's great. It's actually only 100 pounds too. It's not super heavy.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
I can throw it in the back of my truck and get it in and out easily by myself. You know what I'm saying? So it's awesome. I love it.
There is what the hell was I going to say? You might want to actually even talk with Delirious, because there are things that you can do, like risers that you can put in place to lift your seat up a little bit more if you want to get a little bit better vantage point. Because it's funny you mentioned bed fishing, because that's the one thing that I noticed. Like, the nice thing about the width of my boat is when I'm sitting in it, I've got the seat up in the highest position it's in, and I get such a great vantage point. And I never ever got that from the old Ascend that I was in. It was just too low.
It's crazy, like from that, the difference of height, like how much more you can see, especially when you have like good polarized sunglasses. Anyway, but like when you can see, you can see everything, and especially in this new lake I'm fishing, there's so much like lay down cover. Like there's so much trees, there's so many brush piles. Like you don't want to roll up on it and scare all those fish. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You want to be able to like see it from the distance and then cast up on it.
The further you can be, the better.
Now I'm at a point where I just know where that stuff is. You know what I'm saying? But like when you're first, like, just say you travel a long ways, and you're like, I don't know this lake at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just really helps to be able to kind of get a lay of the land and see what's going on without having to just roll on top of it. You know what I'm saying?
No, it makes sense. That totally makes sense. So let's talk as far as, like, you'd mentioned earlier how things have changed. Like, you've learned stuff, you've developed as an angler. Like, so let's go back. We'll revisit one of these questions here, like confidence baits. Like, where do you feel you are now, where if you're out there and it gets really, really tough, like just gets crazy tough, and you need to go and simplify something to something that you can get bid on, has that changed at all? Like, or are you adding more to the laundry list of confidence baits? Like, how does this work for you?
Yeah, so I have a few confidence baits now.
Yep.
I don't just have, like, before, I think I was very simple, where I would kind of just chuck, like, I used to use those Guggen baits, bandito bugs a lot back in the day, and I would be happy with that. But so it always depends on the time of year. And this is the kind of stuff I've learned, what I'm saying? So like in the fall or the spring, when the fish are like chasing, you know what I'm saying? When they're trying to eat. And this is exactly why, I don't know if you've seen, but I have a fishing rod tattooed on my arm now. Yep. And I got a little tiny spinnerbait on there as well.
Oh, okay.
Now, all-time favorite bait, I could tell you right now, is definitely a spinnerbait. That's always like the first thing I'll try in terms of spring and fall when the bigs are rolling around.
Yep.
But chatterbait, spinnerbait are always my top two. Summertime, I always love throwing a buzzbait. Like, I'll throw a buzzbait all day. Yep. All day long. It's just like, it's one of those things, especially at the lake I went to last year, I was talking to you about, that I went to all year. They love a buzzbait, and especially with a little paddle tail on the back, just like one of those little, you know what I'm saying? Yep. And they just crush it. Like I wasn't catching anything, and I had a good friend of mine, actually, Po Boy Outdoors. That's his handle on Instagram. He's a local kind of around my area, and I was like, hey man, like, help a brother out, like, what am I doing wrong? Yep. Yeah. And that's how you learn, you know what I mean? Like, you have to ask people sometimes, you know what I mean? Anyway. Yep. So I asked him, and he was like, dude, try a buzzbait. He's like, I use a buzzbait all the time. And sure enough, I started throwing a buzzbait and I started catching fish again. So buzzbait in the summer. Now, if I'm going to Tennessee, okay, whopper ploppers in the summer. crushed, especially on smallmouth against like a bluff wall.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
can't even tell you, oh dude, I swear, like I can't. Last year I had so many smallies crush a whopper plopper on a bluff wall.
Yep.
It was insane on a whopper plopper.
ND
I love
Yak
it.
Angler loves a whopper popper for river smallie fishing. And yeah, I see them, and I've got friends of mine too. Same thing that like they love it. They're just like, oh, this is such a great bait. But it's so funny, like those two presentations, a buzz bait and a prop style bait, like a whopper plopper or something along those lines. They really are very similar. They make a ton of noise. And it's funny because especially with those topwater baits, God, that's the thing I look for. I look for them to be loud. Like I like throwing for topwater, like my favorite ones are big wake baits.
But sometimes they don't like it that loud though too. So you kind of have to see.
That's true too.
You gotta look.
Yeah, that's
So it
true
just
too. And
depends.
for that, that's when I like throwing like a Z-Man billy goat. Like the goat.
What is that?
Oh, it's like it's very similar to like a topwater, like a buzz toad.
Okay.
But just it's very uniform in its shape, and it's got these two little legs that kick out with these ends that grab the water. But what's nice about them is that because they're Z-Man and they're that elastic, they float. So unlike a buzz toad, when you've got an EWG hook in there or something, and you're cranking along the top, and you stop reeling and it starts to drop, this one will stay on the surface longer.
Oh,
it's so nice. You can move them slower, which is a good thing. And
I mean that's a big deal.
It's pretty awesome. I'm interested though, Jordan. Like, what's your buzzbait setup? Because I love a buzzbait. And I one thing that I've noticed is out of the few people that I've spoken to about them with what they throw it on, everybody's different. I know a few people that are like me. I throw it on my frog
rod, right?
Rod, reel, and line. Like, what are you throwing for buzzbaits?
So reels, I can't talk to you about too much because I don't know enough about them. So,
gotcha.
Like reels, I'll just stick with my loops. You know what I'm saying? Nothing crazy. Rod, I love a heavy rod, like 7 foot. 7 plus foot old 18 heavy fast action tip because if you with the fast action you can feel those little ticks, you know what I'm saying, you can feel it, and then when you at braid, I always use braid on anything top water because first of all and I like the braid that floats. I don't want the one that sinks because you want, if you're gonna, I know buzzbaits usually sink, but like I usually switch between like a whopper plopper and a buzzbait, like I use the same rod for both, you know what I'm saying. But braid, 7 foot, 7 plus, heavy, fast tip. That's like my go-to 100%, but always braid for top water. Cause like, I can't tell you how many times before I started using braid that I would get a big fish on and what would he do? Jet down in the water and wrap me up around a tree and snap, gone. You know what I'm saying? It happened so many times, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pull the trigger and buy some braid, and I did it, and I thank myself every day now for that. So
it's funny, man. Like braid 100% has a place in the game. I think it has so many unique qualities. Like it floats. It's got it's so sensitive, I know a lot of people don't like using braid because they don't like to have to use a leader if they're in a situation where they need one.
I don't even use leaders.
I know a lot of people don't. Like for top water, honestly, I don't ever for top water. Just because I'm like, I want it to float, I'm not going to use a fluoro leader and if I'm going to throw a bait where I want some stretch in the line, like for topwater stuff, I've got a setup for that. Like I've got, I carry, what I do is I have it's almost like a spectrum of rods, varying lengths and powers and action that, just that way I don't have like multiples of everything, and it is kind of a pain in the ass at times. Like it's great if I can plan it out and set everything up right, but I keep a couple of additional reels that are set up for specific stuff. Like I've got a 6-speed bait caster that's got 12 pound mono on it. And that's what I'll use for when I'm throwing like anything topwater. Like I've got that right now rigged up on a 6.6 rod for flipping poppers into overhanging brush. Stuff like that. So it's like, it's you got to have a bunch, but it's so funny. I forget who it was. Somebody told me, they're like, oh yeah, for buzzbaits, I use my all around go-to rod with fluoro. And I was like, why? That's crazy. Like I'm like, you know, I mean, buzzbaits sink. He's like, yeah, but you got to move them. Like you stop a buzzbait and it sinks. Doesn't matter what line's on it. And I'm like,
I mean, you're reeling
that's
before
really
it even
true.
hits the water.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
The game changer for me when I really started to kind of appreciate them was getting into the higher gear ratio reels, the faster reels.
You don't have to like crank it real fast,
you don't have to
like,
burn it all the time, and you can
Exactly.
have a little bit more articulation with it. So I definitely like that. But
Dude, those buzz baits are just so good for running over brush, like brush,
Yep.
and fallen timber. Like especially like the real trick is to try to bump it against something like that. You know what I mean? Like you want it to kind of turn a little bit, or like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And yeah, you're gonna get snagged. And I will tell you straight up, there's something I've also learned is that when you throw in the right places, you're gonna lose a lot of bait. My friend. Like I can't tell you, like especially like with a spinner bait or a chatter bait, you know, you always want to bump it. Like it just makes such a difference. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah, if you play it safe, you're not necessarily putting yourself in the right spot.
I feel like a lot of my bites these days have been like reaction bites. You know what I mean? Like either I throw it and I literally bunk it on the fish's head and it just reacts to it, or if it's off of like a bump off a log or something like that.
Yep.
Now this goes back to your earlier question in terms of confidence baits and like if things get tough. My last thing I was gonna say is actually like a worm, like a stretching lines worm. Mm-hmm. Like I'll just throw that with like a little, you know, 1/4 ounce weight and flip it under docks or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's if I'm real desperate, because I get bored really easily, you know, and that's something like I learned that. Like
I can definitely tell you're more about the power fishing techniques than anything. Yes. And you know, that's the thing. You got to fish the way you like to, you know?
So I did a tournament on Lake Norman last week or the week before, I can't remember now. Mm-hmm. But I'm just starting to get into the kayak tournament game, and I had one of my buddies who's a Norman local. His name's the Salty Shad on Instagram. He's a good dude. I love that guy. Anyway, but he was kind of like, hey, come do this tournament with me, and I was like, all right, cool. So I went out there and I took it seriously, you know, like I'm trying to get more in the flow of these tournaments, you know what I'm saying? And I wasn't getting bit. It was the midday woes, you know, like it was like midday, it was hot. I checked all my spots, all my morning spots were kind of fished out. There was a lot of boat traffic, you know, and I was like, man, what do I got to do? And I know Lake Norman, like when it gets tough, these fish love to go to docks. Like that's what I've seen, you know what I mean? Like that's what I've noticed. And I threw on a worm a little too late, I think. Like just a little bit. It was like the last hour. Oh yeah. And I was trying to just get a limit, because actually I have a funny story about that tournament, but I might get to that later. Anyway. Okay. But I ended up getting like 2 fish off of the worm, and I should have tied it on like 2 hours ago. Yep. But like when times get tough, I need to get better at just being like, yo, slow down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
Especially in like tournament situations, you know what I mean? But like again, I'm one of those guys, like I gotta keep doing something, you know, like I get bored, you know what I'm saying? And I gotta get better at that for sure.
It's so funny, like especially like in the summer, and this was last year when I started to really kind of put it together. I listen, especially when I'm in the kayak, I like to listen to music while I fish. Especially like when I'm in the kayak. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. But what I do is I pick stuff based on like the speed that I am trying to fish. So like if I need to slow down, I'll pick something that's a little bit more, you know, slower tempo and not crazy high energy or anything like that. But if it's one of those days where it's like, I'm chucking and winding a buzzbait all over the place, or, you know, I'm moving, you know, chatterbaits, you know, buzzing them over weeds or whatever, you know, just basically covering water. That's when I want to listen to something totally different, you know?
And that'll keep you interested too, you know, because you got something you kind of jam out to, you know what I'm saying? I like that.
Exactly.
I'm going to try that.
It's funny too. I think the same thing goes for like fishing with somebody else and like talking, you know? Yeah. Like when I'm totally. Especially like by myself, like I'm not just sitting there talking to myself in the kayak, you know, I'm not that guy.
You don't do that?
No, I'm not that guy. But it's one of those things where you're like, it does. It kind of like bides the time. And especially like if you're not like I asked Sean the other day, I was like, so what do you prefer, finesse fishing or power fishing? He was like, power fishing 100%. He's like, given the choice, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's
Totally.
that's the thing. And I get it. Like, there's nothing better than a moving bite or you know, like being able to just like crank through it.
Or
You know?
top water. Everyone always
Top
you always
water
want
is
that
amazing.
top water
Yeah.
bite. You know what I mean? That blow up.
Yep.
But then you get there. It's like I feel like every fisherman goes to a fishing spot like praying for a moving bite. At least I know I do. I'm like, please God, let them be chasing something today. You know,
Yep.
like, please, I hope they're looking up tonight. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah, it makes things a little bit easier. You know, you'll build that confidence early, but
Yeah.
man, that is freaking crazy. So totally random off the wall question. This is one of the new ones.
Okay.
And you've done some traveling. You've been around. So
I have done a lot of traveling lately, actually.
what's your
What you got
favorite?
for me?
What's your favorite chicken joint? And by chicken joint, what I mean is a chicken restaurant with either a drive-through or is in a gas station. One of those two things.
Okay, so I'm notorious for this. Like, it's actually funny because I'm going to fish up in Tennessee with Michael tomorrow morning. Actually, I got to get up at 3 a.m. today or tomorrow morning and drive out there. So I'm always notorious for coming back home from anywhere and getting McDonald's. So I'm gonna have to say,
Yeah, you answered the breakfast question about that.
That's where I go.
That's
I mean,
right.
like, here's the thing: when I wake up early, I hate cooking. Like, especially that early, I'm like, I don't even want to think about.
Yeah.
Doing that. But actually, funny story. I'm trying to be healthier, like starting tomorrow. So I actually pre-cooked all my meals for tomorrow.
Oh,
so,
there you go.
Yeah, there's going to be no McDonald's runs tomorrow, so thank goodness for that. But yeah, that's what I would do. I would wake up, I'd start driving, and I'd wait for the closest McDonald's that was open, and I would just get food there. And then on the way back, I'd be like, I am burnt and I'm tired, and I don't want to make anything when I get home. So I'm going to get me a Big Mac and a McChicken. So as disappointing as this is for you, I'm sorry, but
it's also real and authentic. You know what I mean?
Yes, like, that's just the truth.
This is
like
Jordan.
I can tell you, I'm literally looking down at my ankle right now, and I have this like burnt line across my ankle from sitting in my kayak. You know, like when your pants kind of come up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's like burnt to a crisp. Like, you ever been so burnt you just can't do anything? Like when you get home, you're just like, I can't move.
Yeah.
I can't. You know what I'm saying?
It's been a long time. I really do try to make sure that I don't. I you know, cover up, or I'm set as try to stay out of the sun like that. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in the past, definitely. Where you're just like, I'm useless. I'm the one that's extra crispy. You know?
Yeah. My wife don't like when I do that too much. She was like, "You're grumpy," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sorry."
It comes with the territory.
I can't help
man.
it. I'm burnt. Like, can you get me some water? I can't breathe.
No, exactly. Man, it's crazy. And like today, I was just freaking exhausted. Like I said, my wife and I, we went out with some friends, and like you would have thought we were like
to yourself,
in our mid-20s.
You did that to yourself.
Yeah, I did. That was stupid. But you know,
dehydration was probably real today, huh?
Yeah, I drank a lot of water from the second I got up. Like I just all day long. I was like, so we're gonna hydrate real well, and this ought to be good. And man, what a freaking crazy day.
Hey man, it was worth it. It's all about the times, the memories, you know.
No, 100% on both ends. You know, we had a great time,
totally.
And actually, you know, I'm really excited about this too because the friends that we had gone out with, we had done this Friendsgiving years and years and years ago, where a bunch of us had all gone up for the Thanksgiving holiday at Stowe, Vermont, and it's like this big like Airbnb or Verbo or something like that, and we're talking about planning that again. So I'm like, let's do that. Let's do it. It's going to be cool. So good stuff. Like good memories on both ends. You know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. It was.
My baby will be here for Thanksgiving this year, so
that's awesome.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'll be
dude.
talking about my baby a lot. I'm sorry.
Oh, hey, dude. No, you should be proud dad. Absolutely, first time dad. That's awesome, man. Freaking crazy.
Chills thinking about that.
Yeah, it's nuts. It is. It's nuts. It's a roller coaster. Just the whole experience is such a roller coaster. Yeah. And then it's wild, dude.
I gotta get him into fishing though. I gotta figure out a way to make that happen.
Oh, I think I think you're not gonna have any kind of an issue. He'll probably see what you're doing, and he'll be like, "Yeah, let's go and do this." And what's nice is now, like you've got the know-how. You can go and say, "Okay, so you can do." When he gets more into it, go and show him the way, but start him out catching, bluegill on a small drop shot, something like that. And
dude, you ever use those micro crankbaits? You ever seen those before?
Yeah, they look pretty cool.
Dude, they're fun. Dude, no joke. So my first YouTube video I ever did was a micro crankbait video, and like they just reel them in, man. I caught I'll catch like 20 plus fish in like 30 like 3 hours or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
That's
it's
awesome.
fun. You didn't try, but you gotta do it with like a micro rod. Get a micro rod and do it.
Small presentations are, I think, a lot of times sometimes overlooked. Especially like, you know, I've only been fishing for so many years, not like my entire life, like Sean the Fisherman. So with me, you know, I see something and I still have that like new to this kind of like excitement versus like, you know, some of the downside stuff. It's just crazy. Who was it? Ramon Outdoors caught his new PB on one of the micro chatterbaits, like the really small ones. Yeah, unbelievable.
How do you know when to use that though? That's the trick. Because like to me, it's like I'll use a regular bait and I'll go just to different spots. You know what I'm saying? Like just go instead of being like, hey, I know there's fish here and they're obviously not biting what I want. How do you know when to switch down to that? You know what I'm saying? You know,
that's a really good question. Like, because I think that's ultimately what everybody's looking for, you know, where like, you know, you hear about tips on how to use this and everybody says, they all say the same thing. I feel like really, at least for me, I find oftentimes what I do is I try to go almost in a linear kind of motion, slower and smaller. So if I'm getting, and I like to let the fish kind of tell me what's going on. Like if I'm getting a follow on a bait, what is it about this that isn't? And this actually happened to me not that long ago where I was in a knockout tournament and I skunked. And I looking back and after like figuring out this body of water that I was on, I was totally not even paying any attention to this other bank that very well could have been holding fish. Like I've seen fish on both sides. I've caught them on both sides. Like I was totally ignoring something. I was totally caught up with this one specific structure that I was looking at, and I was not giving an opportunity when it wasn't producing. So I was throwing like natural square bills or chatterbaits, green pumpkin, stuff like that. And I would get follows on this. So immediately I would think smaller. So I think I switched over to, I think I threw a weightless Senko, tell you the truth. And it's same thing, natural color, green pumpkin. And I'm like, okay, well, they're not getting it. What is it? So I downsized even more and I wacky rigged a trick worm, a green pumpkin, you know, or watermelon. And I popped that on, still getting follows. These aren't big bass. Like I've seen swimming up shallow. This is earlier in the year. I've seen some big ones up there just kind of like cruising and I wasn't able to get them. And then I switched over to something dark, either black and blue or purple. And then bam, I just started catching.
That's crazy, man.
It's wild.
Color, right? Like,
yeah, you're like, so that's the thing. And I mean, you can only throw what you have, you know? So it's like I know like lots of people are out there and they lean toward specific colors. Like in dirty water, like to go more darker colors most of the time. I don't throw a lot of white stuff up here. We don't have shad.
Yeah,
you know, it's just wild.
Like white's a staple around here. Like like a lot of my trailers, I put white. It's either like clear gray, like trailer,
like a pearl or something. White. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
No, it's
staple around here.
It's crazy. Like I like for really like clear water like situations I like doing where like I might do a green pumpkin top and like some kind of a shadow belly or something like that. You know, just a little bit, but it's crazy. Like for the most part, I'm like, green pumpkin, black and blue.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? So it's like a lot of people forget that like fish are like animals, you know, like they're actually like living things. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So like,
I don't know if you're trying to be funny, but that's hilarious.
No,
of course they're animals.
I feel like a lot of people it's like they think you just do a certain thing and you'll catch a fish, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes,
that's true.
You know, they're picky, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's like, look at it like this. Like everyone likes chocolate, right? Like most people like chocolate.
Yeah, generally.
Right? So you can't just but here's the thing, like people have like a favorite chocolate bar, you know? So I could be like, hey, I got a Kit Kat and a Reese's. you know. But I like Kit Kat better than Reese's, so I'm gonna grab the Kit Kat and not the Reese's. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing probably with like colors. You know,
and I
what
have
I'm saying?
like a fatal peanut allergy. That decision's made for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to be funny, but you know what I'm saying?
No. You're absolutely right.
People forget that sometimes. You know, it's like, oh, I'm throwing a spinner bait at this thing. It's supposed to catch fish, but like sometimes fish maybe just like, I don't want to eat, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I want to sit on the couch today. You know what I mean?
It's true.
Like,
There is. It's wild because they, you know, you're right. There's biology there. There's a brain, you know?
Yeah.
And so when you're talking about catching fish, the science behind it, where you hear, I love it when I hear people say like, oh, if you're going like punching mats, that's all reaction. You know, an ounce and a half of weight, just like boom, right through this mat, and it's like there's nothing else. But the first thing they think is like, oh, I'm going to eat that.
Yeah, but it's like a defensive.
Are you going to eat that? What I mean? Yeah. Oh, it totally.
If someone
is.
threw a chocolate bar on my face, I'd probably try to eat it too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's true. Yeah. Fair enough.
That's funny.
That's freaking. What a tangent. This is good. This is really good.
We're breaking barriers today on Jigs and Bigs.
Yeah, we are.
We're letting the people know what's really going on down there. You know what I'm saying?
All the synapses are firing. We're in a good spot.
Yep.
My goodness.
We're good.
So let's get back to, you know, our story here. So things are good for you, considering selling the boat. Like,
yes, unfortunately,
you're in a good spot, man. Do you have any new like bucket list bodies of water that you want to specifically get out to?
Oh man, so this is a sad story too, because I was supposed to go to Chickamauga at the end of this month. That's in Tennessee.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and the original plan was to take the big boat out there with a really good friend of mine, Austin Beaker. And unfortunately, with gas prices being the way they are,
God, yeah, you're not kidding.
I can't. I'm not gonna mess around with that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I got too much other stuff I got to do right now.
Yeah, it's gonna.
So we were like, we'll just take the kayaks, you know, and we'll just pick like 3 different spots. You know what I mean? And we were gonna go for a 3-day weekend. Anyway, I had to cancel that trip. So that's like, if you're talking about recent, Chickamauga would be like my most recent, like I really wanted to go there.
You really want to be there? Yeah, that sucks, dude.
Yeah, but if I had a choice between any lake possible, I mean, Lake Fork, obviously, and another good friend of mine, he's like, yeah, I'm going to Lake Fork, I think like in 2 years or something, and I'm just gonna come pick you up and we're gonna go. And I was like, yes, like you just let me know when it's happening and we're gonna figure it out. So, but yeah, Chickamauga. Really bummed about that.
Yeah,
that's
nuts, man.
Gotta be responsible. Work wouldn't let me have the time, unfortunately. So gotta do what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying?
No, I hear you, dude. You know, you'll be able to make it. You'll get that shot on Chickamauga soon enough.
I know. And I'm super jealous because Michael's going to Lake Michigan soon. Like I think it's like next week or something like that.
Oh,
and he was like, when that trip first came up, he's like, you gotta come, man. Like you gotta go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's like, all you gotta do is just get the time off and I'll take you up. And yeah, that was another one actually. So I guess top 2 would be Lake Michigan and Chickamauga are the 2 that I'm super bummed about that I really wanted to go to.
Yeah. That's wild. That sucks.
And the smallies are biting there right now, man.
Like, I'm sure.
Ooh, getting shivers right now. Like one of our Reel 'em In pro staffers, his name's Mitch. He's up there right now, actually, and he's just crushing them, man. Oh my God, I swear. I see his pictures on Instagram, and I just cry myself to sleep because I'm like, I should be there.
You should be there, definitely, dude. Oh,
yeah,
it is, dude. It is so important, like, you know, to make these trips happen. And actually, you know what? This goes right into another, like, you're talking about fishing trips and big outings and stuff. The thing, like I said before, like, you know, even just fishing with somebody and having a conversation helps me kind of dial into, like, you know, maybe I should slow down. I'll talk more, you know, whatever. The great thing about fishing is like a shitty day out. You know, the worst day can be made awesome if you've got the right kind of company, the right kind of conversation and stuff. So we never got these from you, but who are your top 3 people you would love to fish with? And they can be living, they can be dead, they can be celebrities, they can be anybody.
Well, honestly, so I've never been like celebrity kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people I would really like to fish with that I've seen through Instagram that I've talked to. You know what I'm saying?
See,
like,
I think those are the best ones to consider because you could really make that happen. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Like, I could be like, oh, I'd love to fish with Bill Dance and Mike Iaconelli. Yeah. The odds of that happening.
I wouldn't want to do that personally because they'd kick my ass. You know, like I wouldn't want to do that because they just show me up. Like I'd rather have, you know what I'm saying, like a good time. You know what I'm saying? Anyway,
definitely.
That's just me. But I got a few. God, I feel like if I forget someone, people are gonna get mad at me. You know what I'm saying?
We'll have you on again. We'll do this all over again.
Part two. So if I forget you, I'm sorry. So there's the owner of Alpha Bass. Yeah, he's a good dude. I was supposed to go up there this year, and he ended up getting a job actually, and I had to cancel that trip. Actually, I was going to come up there and try to meet all y'all too. Actually, I was going to try to knock out two birds with one stone. You know
hell yeah!
But yeah, we were inches. I was so close, and then unfortunately, you know, I totally understand he has work and stuff like that. But you know, obviously your life comes first, right? So I totally support him, and you know, I know he's doing really good over there right now. So he was one that I would really like to fish with because me and him talked a lot just about fishing, and he helped me out with tips and all that stuff. Honestly, lip gripper.
Oh man, Mitch is awesome.
Yeah. Like he just seems like such a funny dude, you know, like every time I watch his videos, he cracks me up, and he's catching these fish. And I'm like, bro, like the time I would have with that dude would be probably it would be legendary. It really would. It would be something special, I feel like. You know what I'm saying?
100%. I get that.
I would like to fish with you too. Honestly, I would love to fish with you at some point. Like again, I was just telling you, I was trying to go out there and fish with a bunch of people.
Oh yeah.
You know, the stretching lines crew. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like all you guys are like people I would love to fish with, and that's kind of why I wanted to make that trip happen. But unfortunately, I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
it just didn't work out.
I hear
you know? But
it'll happen. It'll happen. You know.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, one way or the other. That's my goal is to travel. You know.
Yeah.
Like I'm working on.
If you're ever in Tennessee or North Carolina, please let me know.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude.
Please. It'd be fun, man.
Yeah,
good time.
That's one of my major goals. Is like that's part of the why I got into the whole truck camping stuff. You know, like all that. Mm-hmm. Like how can I make this like a feasible thing where I can be like, all right, cool. I can be go out and do this and be relatively sufficient and good to go. That's it's a major player. So yeah,
one day you gotta dream big.
It's gonna
right?
happen.
You know?
Yeah. That's kind of like that's my goal, is just to get out there and do this more often, like even if it's a couple times a year for a couple weeks out or something. Like that would be amazing. I'd love that. Yeah,
I feel like a lot of people like talk about doing like trips like that and stuff like that, and that was kind of one of the things that changed for my like fishing career, and I'm air quoting that. Like I just kind of decided like, hey, you know what? Just go do stuff. You know what I'm saying?
And 100%.
That was one of the reasons why like I kind of reached out to Michael back in the day, like way back when we first kind of started linking up. And I mean, we've had so many good times, me and Michael. Like Michael's like my mentor. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like he was the kind of the guy who showed me and taught me a lot about this game and about like fishing in general. You know what I mean? And this. It's again, I kind of just took a shot and was like, hey, like, you want to go fishing? And then it kind of led into all this other stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
exactly. Like, sometimes that's just how it is, you know?
Exactly.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It is. It's absolutely awesome. I've had situations like that before where, like, I have answered an ad looking for a drummer, years and years and years ago. And I've ended up, playing in a group with a bunch of, like, some of the closest people, like I can completely vouch for them as just being amazing humans. You know what I mean? Like you just meet like really quality people if you just give them a shot. You know what I mean?
You just never know. You know what I'm saying?
just,
like you don't know until you try.
Exactly.
You know? So that's
you
my word of
got to
advice
give it
to
a shot.
everybody.
Yeah.
You got just go for it. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you're not going to know until you do it.
No, for sure. For sure.
Get out there, people.
Yeah, I love it. Jordan, this was awesome, man. Really, really a whole lot of fun, dude. This was really good.
This is way overdue, so I apologize
for sure.
for taking so long. And I've been
no worries, man.
But I got to make this happen again. So.
Yep. Do me a favor, if you want to give out any shout outs or promote what you got, if you have anything special coming up. I mean, obviously, with the new arrival showing up later this year, that's kind of a big one. But go ahead, plug your stuff.
All right. Well, first of all, Stretching Lines Anglers Gear. They're my boys. Love them. Support them. Different Baits are out of Massachusetts too. They're awesome. Support them. Old 18 fishing rods. That's my family out there, so definitely support them. Alpha Bass, got to support them. Got Tifosi Optics. If you need sunglasses, check out them. God, I feel like I'm forgetting people. I know this is going to be bad. Angler Tungsten. If you need some weights, make sure you go check them out. And I believe that's it. Pretty sure.
Cool. Awesome, dude. This is really good.
And support Jigs and Bigs. Support Jigs and Bigs.
Ultimately, let's be honest. Yeah. Do yourself a favor. Everybody needs a brand new Jigs and Bigs shirt or hat.
I have to tell you, your hat brings me luck. I'm not even kidding.
I have definitely noticed some absolute donkeys on your Instagram, and
dude,
I'm like, oh, nice hat.
I caught my PB in your hat. I'll go cold for like a week, and then I'll put on your hat, and I'll end up catching like 20 fish.
That's
so
awesome.
Y'all should go get you a Jigs and Big hat right now.
You can't.
I've been meaning to get a black one. I need to get a black one.
Yeah, I
need to do that.
I think there was a supply issue like a week ago or something. Yeah, I don't know if I think they might be back in stock though. I gotta double check with that.
I got one more plug. Sorry,
Fire away.
Is really important.
No sweat.
So there's a house in Cherokee, the Reel 'em In house. Okay. It's a lake house on Lake Cherokee in Tennessee. If y'all are looking to get a good fishing spot, it's got docks, it's got rooms, it's got a hot tub, it's got it all. If y'all are looking for somewhere to stay on Lake Cherokee in Tennessee, Reel 'em In is where you need to go. So check that out too.
That's cool. The Reel 'em In. The in is INN.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
And if you want to watch, I don't know if you saw that video I put up where I caught 2 smallies with 1 cast. You see that?
I think so.
Yeah. That was from
that was
house.
that trip.
So,
nice.
Yeah, that was that trip. So they definitely the fish are there. The fish are there, people. So check it out and tell them I sent you.
Awesome, dude. Jordan, that was great. Do me a favor and send me a picture, like just an absolute tank, and we'll use it for the artwork. And
Perfect.
Man, that was really, really awesome, dude. Thanks so much for doing this. It's a lot of fun.
Man.
Cool.
Yeah, dude. I appreciate you, and again, man, a long overdue. So I appreciate you, man, and I will be wearing your hat tomorrow, just so you know.
I love it. Let me know if you get into any quality ones. You got it.
Yes, sir.
Sweet.
I will send you that picture right when I'm off. Okay.
All right, cool. Take care, man. You have a good one. All right.
All right, man.
All right.
Appreciate you. You have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I love this little intro music right here. Sean, did I ever tell you about the inspiration for this?
No, what was it?
So it's no big secret. Like Sean and I are, we're dudes that love food.
Yep.
And along with that, at least for me, comes I love food related content. I grew up watching cooking shows with my parent, with my dad. Cooking shows. So like when food TV and stuff kind of became a thing, like I was into that already. Like I thought the idea of like learning how to cook or watching this recipe on TV, like this was something that I was into. Transition into the internet age, and you've got folks that are making content that's food related all over the place, and it's great. There's always this little bit of information that kind of comes with it. One of the one of the food content creators that I can't get enough of, I just love his energy and everything, Maddie Matheson.
Love Maddie.
Maddie is amazing. Give it up for Maddie. Maddie Matheson, I have his latest cookbook, which is fantastic. It's actually right in front of me. It's fantastic. He's got a lot of dishes that I would love to just fool around with and kind of get into. But he's also very lighthearted about it, and he does a couple of different shows. He's got It's Supper Time. He does what's the one? There was one that partnered right with his book, but lots of times there's all this music that's kind of cheesy, that like transition stuff here and there, and I'm like, this is great, this is awesome. And that was the inspiration watching his videos. I was like, I need something to bump out of the interview segments and all that, to kind of make work and put something interesting together. So that's what it was. So that's where the inspiration of that music was. Huge tangent right off the bat. I apologize.
No apologies. This is the Jigs and Tangents show.
The Jigs and Tangents. So, great interview with Jordan. Congrats to Jordan and Ashley on the new addition to the swag home. Very, very excited for them. It's going to be a game changer. So if you're also looking to buy a boat, he's throwing around the idea of selling his boat as well. There's that if you're into it. He also mentioned in there, Sean, of course, that next time we're in either Tennessee or North Carolina to make sure to stop in and fish with him. And I told him, I said, for me, that's my bucket list. Like, that's what I want to do, is travel and record segments of this show and put stuff out there. In fact, a content creator recently just started a series, Fishing with Becca, and she's out in Maine, just kind of like literally flying by the seat of her pants. She's got her kayak on the trailer, and she's truck camping all over the place. Like, this has been the goal since we started, that I've ultimately wanted to get into.
Yeah, did you see the muskie she caught the other day?
Yeah. I commented fish on that video. I was like, okay, that is the fish of 10,000 casts. How did you catch 3 your first time going out?
Yeah. Well, I think she was with some knowledgeable
the right people.
Too.
Yes, exactly, 100%. She doesn't bullshit around about that at all. Totally gives credit where credit is due. But let's talk truck camping, man. Things are happening. I don't know if you saw this on Instagram, Sean, but I went out and I built a very simple platform for the back of my 4Runner, which now gives me a level surface when the seats are down. Mm-hmm. This also is amazing for when I'm hauling gear, because giant pieces of equipment now slide smoothly right in. I don't have to worry about playing with angles or anything like that. So this is a good thing for the beef boy here. Now, I figured since I've got this done, I am going to wrap it in carpet and have it, just so it's not like plywood exposed all over the place. I'll kind of want it to be a little bit more subdued as far as the way it looks in the background. It does give me a little 2-inch gap underneath to store items if I need to, which is kind of cool. I can't store a whole lot, but I could definitely put cutting boards and things like that under there, which is nice.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I did see that. I saw it. I liked it.
Yeah,
it's good job, man.
I'm very excited about that. So I figured I would double down on it, and I put a little video together on Instagram, or a post on Instagram with some snapshots of what I was playing around with. Now, Deep Sleep Overland is a company that makes a bunch of overland accessories. Primarily, what they do is they make mattresses that are designed for various models of SUVs and not RVs, but you know what I'm saying, like overland type vehicles, Subarus, Jeeps. That was their flagship they started with, and 4Runners, as well as I believe some truck beds as well. So what I did not realize about these mattresses is that they are not air mattresses. I thought they were exclusively air mattresses, super compact. There's a foam core or a form layer that's in there on the top and bottom. So you get this great sort of hybrid of really soft yet firm, platform to lay on, but also the flexibility of being able to deflate it and roll it up compact and take it where you need to go. They sent me 2 of them. Thank you, Deep Sleep Overland. The reason why they sent me 2 of them is because they're a single mattress for a single person. But I have sleeping system set up that's that will fit between both wheel wells to give me ample room. I decided to set this up, and I laid down in the back. I'm like, this is not going to suck. This is
Nice.
going to be I'm really impressed with how comfortable these are. And I mean, I'm looking forward to it. So the thought is I want to very soon do a test run. I don't know if I'm going to go and camp somewhere like specific or anything like that. I might even just set everything up in the backyard and give it the old college try, you know? Make sure everything is good. See, how do I sleep on the thing for a whole night, and set up the entire thing in the back, like in the backyard, and just go to town. You know, make some food on the stove that my wife had gotten me for Father's Day, and you know, play around with all that stuff. The solo stove, the Coleman table that I'm using, all kinds of different stuff. So I actually even have some recipes for when we do some camping stuff that I think you're gonna love, dude. I came up with what we have to find is an andouille sausage that works with your dietary needs.
I don't think that should be too difficult.
Yeah,
I think it'll be
I don't
all right.
think so. I think we can work it out. Yeah, because I came up with a home run. I was actually talking with Elise about this. She's like, "Look at you, taking into consideration everybody's dietary restrictions." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, the roast beef boy doesn't mess around." But so good stuff there. Very excited. Looking to do Ascend very, very soon. And we are cooking up something here at Jigs and Bigs that I think you guys are really going to like. Last week, and this often comes up. We're like, oh, we don't have a guest for this week. Lots of times it's not so much that we don't have a guest necessarily, but we have a lot of content on this show. And, I kind of like to just let the interview segments occur naturally. I'll have a conversation with somebody on the old IG, and I'll shoot them a link to schedule something. And I don't know if most people catch on to this, but generally when somebody comes on, like, there's a reason. There was a conversation, somebody jumped into the DMs, we're having a conversation, and I'll say, hey, let's save this and do it on the show, have you on. But occasionally there's shows where we don't have an interview guest for that week. And, we got to thinking, what if we became the guest? What if the tables were turned? What if we allowed the Jigs and Bigs listeners, and especially our jig heads, to reach out and ask us all kinds of questions? Kind of like an AMA, but they submit some kind of a question. They have something they want us to talk about, something they maybe want us to address, and they can throw that out there, and then we'll utilize the space in that segment periodically to just run one of these, and we'll handle, half a dozen questions. Shit, maybe if we get one question and it's like a really hot topic, that'll just be the one question. But we'll go ahead and we'll build up a bank like this, and we are working on some stuff. We have like a little fancy-dancy little name for this segment that we're not going to submit you guys to now. We're not going to let you know about this. In fact, we have to reach out to our staff voiceover artist to put some shit together and make this in true Jigs and Bigs fashion. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm looking. It's not the most original idea. We're not reinventing the wheel here, but it's just one of these things where this way, if let's say you guys want to talk to, I'll give you a good example. Like recently, we had somebody reach out to me about bringing on a guest that's just like an absolute stick in the fly fishing world in our area. And we're going to be having this guest on. So maybe some of you guys that are listening want to know our initial, or like our hot take on fly fishing, and if we're into it, if it's something we've experimented with previously, have we given it a go? Are we just not into it? Something like that. It might be questions about ice fishing. It might be questions about shit. It could be truck camping questions. It could be, who knows? This could be a lot of fun. It could be a lot of fun. And I think what we're going to do is open this up to our jig heads to send over and make it really, really easy, like an actual audio question. So this way they can be on the show asking the question, and then we'll go ahead with it. You get a little bit of feedback. It'll be great. It'll be fun.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Great idea.
Yeah.
Glad we thought of it.
Yeah, we did. We did a good job. Bitch, you doing a good job. Bitch, you're doing a good job.
You want to ask Bobby about his favorite Stevie Wonder album? Go for it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
No, there are no rules.
There are no rules, man. Oh, my goodness. I really, for this segment right now, man, I got nothing. This show is packed with quality stuff for all of you guys. I mean, the hot topic we definitely got, fired up on. The whole sandbagging thing is bullshit. And, yeah, I think we definitely went down a rabbit hole with that. But, also it's been an action-packed week for us both for different elements entirely, which is amazing. And then we have an amazing guest, Just the Tip, FTG, all of these segments kind of coming together, and a boatload of tournament information for you guys that hopefully you guys enjoy. And remember, on Thursday, we have our KFL recap show that's dropping, which I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. We have had almost nothing but absolutely amazing feedback from. So thank you to all you guys that have listened to that show. Again, it's a development in progress. There's going to be some growing pains, but we're getting really close. We're dialing it in and coming up with ideas and streamlining things to make it work. Last week's show was almost 90 minutes long, and it wasn't necessarily intended to be that long, but we really wanted to have some fun early off, and then we went through the games bit by bit by bit and really kind of went over all the details and everything. We let it kind of be what it was. So we've got some ways that kind of streamline some stuff, and I think this is going to be really good. I'm looking forward to it. There was, however, one tiny little bit of feedback that came through that got us a little bit fired up, really. And it had to do with the language on that program. Again, I'm clutching my pearls. How could they? And it had to do with that, and I will say this, amazing lead into the show where we had that Macho Man Randy Savage intro for that episode. It was awesome. It was absolutely freaking awesome. In fact, you know what? I'm going to play that for you guys if I can find it again.
Bobby, while you're finding that,
yeah,
I should make note. What else got us fired up about this was when in the middle of the show at some point, I even mentioned that Macho Man Savage.
Yep.
That intro, we did not ask for it. We didn't mention pro wrestling. We didn't do shit.
No, we didn't do anything.
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
One of the owners sent that to us of the teams and said, "Hey, this is great. You guys check this out." We used it. We didn't create it. We didn't ask for it. We love it.
Oh, yeah.
And we recommended more. I even said on the show, if you guys want to find the way to our hearts and exposure for your teams, send us pro wrestling promos. Go ahead with impersonators. See if we don't play them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we kind of called it out for it. So, all right, I am going to play this sucker for you guys. Hold on, I got to back this up here.
With them.
Oh, come on. I got all the Zoom controls all over the place. All right, let's go ahead. We'll pause this guy, put him all the way back here. And
while we're waiting, hold on, Bobby. While we're waiting, I just want to also pass along a happy birthday to my dad.
Oh, happy birthday!
He's also recovering from a joint replacement.
Yep.
So he's laid up right now. But we were over his house for a birthday party last night, and I did let him listen to this clip, and he thought it was fucking hilarious.
So far, everybody thought it was awesome. Here we go.
Oh, yeah, you're listening to the KFL Recap Podcast with that Bobby Roast Beef and Sean the Fisherman. These assholes will recap the motherfucking KFL every week. Oh, yeah. My pick to win it all is the Washington Warhawks. Yeah, everyone sucks like Elizabeth did on our wedding night. Oh, yeah. Oh.
So...
Can I break this down?
Go for it. Yes.
A wrestling fan's perspective and from we media guys, whatever the fuck we are now, right?
Exactly.
From my perspective.
Those assholes.
Number one, this man endeared himself to me by calling us both assholes.
Yes.
Right off the bat.
100%.
He's coming out hot. Coming in hot, right?
Did we just become best friends? Yes.
Then he called us motherfuckers. Completely unwarranted. Even better.
Yep.
We're not just assholes. We're motherfuckers. Next, he goes into he pulls up a very, it was definitely a groundbreaking angle, or not groundbreaking. It was definitely a popular wrestling angle with Randy Savage and Elizabeth's wedding on air.
Oh, yeah.
That's big from the 80s. He's throwing angles in. This guy, I'm fucking proud of him.
I'm impressed.
I hope he can do other voices. I mean, he had a pair of pit vipers on. He went full savage on this. This was fucking phenomenal.
So good. And like, that's the thing. It was a video. It was not edited. He just one take. Booyah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, this was incredible. And again, we didn't ask for it, but we loved it.
Yeah, we loved it. Absolutely.
And there was a major complaint from one person who was not pleased with the language and sexual reference.
Right off the top of the show.
And I'm just going to be frank. Let me get official here.
Yep.
On behalf of Bobby, excuse me, let me start over again. On behalf of Robert Roast Beef, my name is Sean the Fisherman, and we do not give a fuck about that asshole's opinion.
It's true. Yeah. That's the whole thing. Our take on this is that primarily, one, this reminds me of a conversation I had with my mother in late 2020 when the podcast was just starting to kind of take off and things were going. She's like, "Oh, we listen to your podcast. It sounds really good. Do you guys have to swear so much?" And I was just like, well, we just naturally kind of like with our humor and everything, it's kind of, that's how it is. I go, there's a million clean, friendly, forms of content that you can take in all the time. There is not always a place for adult language, and the world of podcasting especially is wonderful for that because you can be authentic. You don't have the restrictions that you do like with major media outlets. So, in a way, like it kind of makes me feel a little bit like Howard Stern. You know what I mean? And I think Sean made the point perfectly where, millions of people listen to Howard Stern to see what he's going to say next. And also millions of people hate Howard Stern, but listen to him to see what's going to happen next. We're like, Sean has also said, like, we're not necessarily shock jocks, but we're just talking organically. We're being ourselves. And the reality of it is not everybody's going to like you. And that's fine. That is fine because those folks we're probably not for them, and that's all right. There's a million different ways that you can get some feedback about especially like with KFL stuff. The information's there. We're giving it to you in a style that we like to deliver. And we also like the idea of giving the players and the team owners an opportunity to come off here and not have to be so clean cut. Like, when we had Barry Davis announced that they had just served up a can of Carolina whoop ass on last week's game, we want them to have the freedom to be able to do that. So that's what we're doing. We don't expect this to change anything.
Yeah, a couple notes just to add to that.
Yep.
I'm a kid who was raised. I'm a guy who was raised Catholic as a kid.
Yep.
And I started swearing like a sailor in third grade.
Yeah.
Right. That's what Catholicism did to me. And I also like to add with the Howard Stern reference. I'm going to make another reference here. Obviously, we are not Howard Stern, and we are certainly not the next
trying
reference
to
I'm going
be
Joe Rogan.
Yes.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, look, numbers wise, sure, everyone would love to have that kind of exposure, but we're not. We're a fishing podcast from the Northeast. We get it.
Mm-hmm.
But one of that response's comment had something to do with what are advertisers going to think? How many advertisers are backing down from the Joe Rogan show, and he swears like a sailor?
Yep.
So I am not concerned with this guy. We're just acknowledging it because it was honestly so very unusual.
Yeah.
Compared to all the other feedback we got.
Yeah.
And then we get it. We know where we're going.
To
we
the
know
point
where we've been.
We kind of thought it was comical. We're like, wow, not everybody loves Jigs and Bigs. I get that.
It's okay.
Yeah, but the people who love Jigs and Bigs, they fucking love Jigs and Bigs, and we love them. Thank you.
Think of it this way. In 2 years, we went from me and you hanging out doing a little fishing, and then you saying I have a podcast, to we may have a Sasquatch lurking down in Crumpton, Maryland, who could kill for us if asked.
It's true. It's true.
Oh, it's true.
And speaking of Crumpton, so the final installment of the Crumpton Chronicles is coming out on the Hooks at Hoodlums YouTube channel. It looks like so far they had an amazing time. And I know you will be making a stop down in Crumpton. I too am looking and am hoping to be able to make that work as well. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Looking at the calendar, I think we should be good.
Okay, good.
And I'm hoping that we can make it happen. But man, I'm getting psyched. You know?
Yeah, looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Get to hang out with Cody.
Yeah.
We love Cody. He's nuts. So, yeah, I'll check those out, man. I have been obviously backed up a little bit with a lot of stuff going on. My social media has been shitty to poor lately, so I'll be on top of that. But, yeah,
good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this one up, guys. It's been a great show. Thank everybody for coming in and listening to this and checking it out. Appreciate all of our listeners. Like, you guys don't even know. Seriously, you're the absolute greatest. Of course, our jig heads, there's a special place in our heart for all of you guys. If you're interested in becoming a jig head, you can do so. Just go to jigsandbigs.com. There's a button right there that says join our Patreon. That's all it is. It's a Patreon club. One note about our jig heads, we have not done the exclusive live streams now for 2 straight weeks. Mainly because we're recording this now on Monday mornings. I'm glad to, set it up so that you guys can watch the stream on the exclusive, video after the fact if you want to. But being that we're dropping the show, I'm not 100% sure that the interest is there. Will we go back to Sundays? I had a conversation with Gravy about this yesterday, actually. And I said, it's possible, but we got to wrangle how effectively we can produce the KFL show, and then how effectively we can produce the Jigs and Big shows. Because I think it was Wild Bill was like, it's insane. You guys are doing like 5+ hours of content now every week.
Yeah, and what's crazy, where it's becoming a time crunch.
Yeah,
is the KFL matches wrap at 7:00 Eastern on Saturday.
Yep.
So I tend to not go to bed. I mean, I'll go to bed at between 10 and 11, but I'm starting my production work then. Sundays are kind of a mess. Sometimes I have time, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
And then I have to have it ready by Monday. So like I was actually working on the KFL stuff up to the time we started recording the Jigs and Bigs, and then we're going to be recording this right after. So it's just a time crunch. We record. Sunday nights, guys, I know I'm going to apologize, but we're just not prepped to fully record, and we can't do 2 recording sessions due to our schedules.
Yeah,
so we had to push it to Monday morning.
Once we kind of tweak it a little bit, if it's possible to bring it back, we're definitely going to bring it back. So we're going to try to squeeze some stuff in there that's extra that we can come up with for our jig heads to kind of hook them up. Not saying that the exclusive live streams aren't going to happen, but at least during the main season, it might be a little bit spotty here and there. So if we're able to do it, then awesome. I'd love to do it, but we'll figure it all out. That all being said, you guys go ahead and have yourselves an amazing week. Get out there and catch some fish. Again, you got a day. If you're listening to this now and you're like, should I do the Jigs and Bigs online monthly multi-species tournament? Yeah, the answer is yes. And if you're listening to this on the day that it dropped, this is like the last day that you have to join. So go ahead and do that. Go ahead and register. Get into it. It's going to be a lot of fun. If nothing else, you'll be able to see the adventures of Rory offshore fishing. What he's got going on. That kid is amazing. So much good stuff going on, guys. With all that, have yourselves a great week, everybody. Enjoy. Get out there and catch some fish. And we will see you when we see you next week for more Jigs and Bigs action. And like we always say,
tits and ass, smoke some grass.
Mama got mad at Papa, 'cause he didn't bring no coffee home. Mama got mad at Papa, 'cause he didn't bring no coffee home. She said, old man, don't you know you doing me wrong? She said, excuse me, that's what he told her. Darling, I won't do that no more. Just please excuse me. I won't do that no more. I'm gonna buy you coffee here, and I'm even gonna buy you a coffee stool. If you'll shut your mouth, baby, I will buy you a coffee house. If you shut your mouth, baby, I will buy you a coffee house. You know, Mama was sitting around a crowd like this, said, what did this coffee house mess all about? Mama, she was sitting there seeing the people go out and in. She began to drink coffee, said, I'm going back here again. You know, Mama was mad, but how sweet it seemed. She drank back coffee and it was without a drop of cream. You know, she was crazy about that coffee house. That's the reason him and Mama, they began to get along, cause she know what this coffee mess all about.
Rolling in 3, 2.
This episode of Jigs and Bigs is brought to you by Three Bells Coffee. A warm cup of Three Bells comforts you. Like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. I choked on spit because of Three Bells Coffee. Fuck.
Another countdown in 3.
Sorry. Hold on. Save that.
Okay.
Because I'm literally swallowing Three Bells Coffee and I choked on it while I was fucking saying.
Fucking
Oh my God.
All right, we're rolling in
that
3.
sounded good too.
Yeah,
Right,
in 3, 2.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
We're gonna roll this.
Can I get a
Oh my God. Does that mean I have to do it?
That's what I was waiting to see. Somebody, I start rolling and I'm like,
So I have the funniest story about that because I fish a lot with Michael Knapp, right?
Yep.
And he does that all the time on the water sometimes. So when I heard that, I actually thought that was him for a second. I was like, yo, you got Michael on the show? What's up, dude?
That's awesome.
Yeah, he does that all the time. Like, especially when we like blast off. Like, as soon as we go for the first, ride to the first spot.
Oh yeah.
We'll just scream it like right off the bat. You know what I mean? Just get it out of the way. So
You
it's like,
kinda
that's
have to.
nothing new to my ears.
It's like a rite of passage, Oh man. All right, cool.
That's good, man.